When are we dropping, baby? I answer my pants. I can't wait to get started.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, we can get you up here at some point. I know you kind of invaded the stage last time, but it's more of an open invitation this time.
Thank you.
You're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
And you're looking great.
I've got to say as well, Mark, it is so nice.
Chicos, si alguno quiere que visite su canal, me lo deja en los comentarios.
You're doing an amazing
Yo le hago
job.
promo.
I absolutely love it. You know, your diction, the elocution, you know, the
Y hay
vocabulary.
actualización
You've got some
de
serious
Fortnite.
Shakespearean swagger going on, my friend.
It's too kind of you.
You would have swept up in the 17th century.
Oh, thank you, thank you. It's a bit out of my, age range.
I mean,
Vale,
like a
¿y
chimney
quiénes son
sweep.
los que participan?
Rude.
Never mind, never mind.
Adam.
Just
Thanks,
kidding.
Adam. We're going to move you away now. Thank you. I
Okay,
thought
bye.
you were being nice,
No.
and then apparently that's what I'm in for.
Aquí es donde se puede aprender a construir, ver cómo juegan
We're not sure. Anyway, let's talk
los
about
pros en
one of the
solitario.
players who we kind of mentioned a little bit, who is our wildcard entry for the solos today. Like Adam mentioned, we have our solos competition for today, $100,000 on the line. Yakos, I mean, what an incredible performance he had last weekend. What a great guy he is. What impressed you about this young man?
I think his calmness under pressure. I feel like it's one of his first times here on stage in front of an audience, playing in front of a home crowd. And when you go to events like this, it's not easy to transition from playing at home in front of your own computer, you know, whatever you're wearing, your own chair, and being able to play at the same kind of level here now in front of the stage, in front of people cheering you on. And he's really impressed me in how he can keep that composure.
That's right. These players are competing in front of a live audience today, but as I mentioned last week, it's just like riding a bicycle. Once you load into the lobby, you just kind of focus in, tunnel into, you know, draw on months of experience, and you just, you know, get into the flow.
And I think what I love best is that he didn't even know he would be playing in this tournament today when he went into his own solos for the Polish edition. He won the whole tournament, then he come out like, oh, I'm playing in next week as well, where the prize money is even higher, and I'm playing against even better players. Like, this is his chance to really break through and make a name for himself.
Yeah, last week
No
was
los
just a
conoce
warm-up for
ni
him.
el
You can see the standings there of, obviously picking up that win at the end. He had a couple of victory royales in there. He had a second place in there as well. His consistency was really impressive, but the eliminations, that was what stood out for me. But
That's a good point. And that's something we have to talk about now, Speedy, is that this format is different than what we had just in the Secret Skirmish. Every elimination counts. Every elimination's worth 5 points. And with Stormwings being taken out now with Season 8, which is a very important factor, people have to play more aggressive. And if you played in that Polish tournament and now you come into this, you know that. You know that you have to be a little bit more aggressive. You have to be a little bit more aggressive in how you go for these kind of eliminations. And you need to get those points on the board. You can't play passive and play for placing.
Absolutely. What I expect to see in game one is, you know, players kind of feeling each other out. However, because this is a new format for some of these players,
Yep.
they've been practicing pop-up cup in the past, and this is a format that they haven't really had, you know, the opportunity to scrim and practice too much. So I definitely expect them to feel it out.
Scrim,
but
scrim.
Jarkos definitely felt it out
¿Cómo
last
era?
week. He's going to come in
Yo no sé el
feeling
nombre.
pretty confident.
And of course, we've got the changes of Season 8 as
Pero
well.
mira,
so
mira
there's a few,
el-
you know, headaches for a few players to think about where they're going to be dropping.
Mira, el
etc.
Pueblo
But we've got to
Tomate.
remind ourselves of what these guys are playing for as well.
Se montaron aquí lo que no
$100,000
está
on the line.
escrito.
For a lot of these guys,
Mira,
they're making huge money
primer
already in their
premio
competitive Fortnite career, but
de
$100,000
20.000,
here,
segundo
you can see here,
16.000,
first place,
12.000, 8.000, 6.000,
$20,000 in the bank.
4.000,
You can see
2.000 y
how the
1.000.
breakdown is there.
Ole.
That's such a huge amount of money to be competing for.
That's a lot of Yeezys.
100.000 euros en dólares.
I actually think it's interesting too because
premio,
if you look
ole.
at the total standings of earnings across Fortnite, we're potentially going to have some mix-ups here because Tifu's not here to maintain and to fight for his #1 position. Now we have Bizzle coming in with about 16,400 difference between the two. This is his chance to overtake him, to overthrow him.
If Bizzle manages to go home with $17,000,
Lips
he becomes the
SL.
most winningest player in Fortnite.
Yeah, all up until later on with the World Cup as well.
Yeah, I mean, everything's going to
around.
change. I mean, from
But that's
tournament
still
to tournament,
impressive.
we're seeing the leaderboards change, but it is a chance for Bizzle to certainly put his
Esto
mark
está
down. Let's have a
tope.
look at the schedule, though, for today, gentlemen, because obviously we've got a lot of games for today. We've got 7 rounds to get through, and you can see the first one will be kicking off at around 20:02 local time.
A las 2:20 de Costa Este.
We're getting straight into games today. We have
Que eso
another
es
game coming. They're coming
en
thick,
8
they're coming
minutos.
fast, and not a lot of time for people
¿No?
to maybe adjust. It's kind of game after game. You got to be on your ball.
That's a
today.
perfect point, actually, the adjusting factor. Because last week, we did have, after Game 2, a nice little break for players to eat lunch and to give them time to think things over. Now you don't have that opportunity, right? Now you play one match, and you basically have to go straight into
Sí,
the next
en
round
8
about 15
minutos.
minutes of time. So your chance to think things through and figure out what do
Vale,
I need to
dejo
do
esto
different
aquí.
this next game, that's been shut on you. You have to
Ahora
adapt
vengo.
mid-game, and I think that's where the Polish
8
players are gonna
minutos.
have the biggest advantage.
Chicos, si me
Knowing
dejan
they
un
played last
comentario,
week,
le
they
hago
know how this
promo
kind of
hasta que
format
empiece el
works, and
torneo.
they're gonna be able to at
Le
least
hago
be
promo de
extra
su
aggressive
canal.
early on.
Absolutely. There's definitely a lot less time to reevaluate your decisions in the previous match.
Bueno, lo voy a
And
poner
for
por
some of these
aquí.
players such as 72 Hours in Chap, whose landing spot got taken away, Rip Wailing. There's now a volcano there, and they have to, they haven't had the opportunity to practice their rotations, their landing spots, how to contest, where to go for mobility, and they're gonna have a couple of minutes in between games to reevaluate their decisions.
I mean, hell, like the thing is, they're used to playing in North America.
Que
They're
en
used to
8
playing
minutos empieza la
with,
primera partida.
Opponents there, they play week in and week out.
Venga,
right?
vengo
so they're used
ahora.
to knowing where everyone's going to be dropping across the map. Now they're coming into the international tournament where things
Vale,
can
se
change
está
up.
viendo
They'll be playing
bien.
against people they never
Okay.
expected to be there. They're going to be challenged out at every
Bueno,
corner
se
of the
está
map.
viendo un
Well, that's
poquito
one
más
thing I
grande.
want to touch
Lo
on a
voy
little
a...
bit more, gentlemen. We talked about how this is the international tournament. This is one of the biggest ever international tournaments as far as nationalities being represented is concerned.
Vale.
We have 28 different nationalities, and we have the chance for a lot of these players to compete against what are known as the best in the world when they're a kind of a little bit of an unknown quantity. We have players coming in from Brazil. We have South Korean players coming in. Literally from every single region of the world is being represented here. As we have a look at the players attending, but Speedy, is there any players in particular that you've got your eye on this tournament?
I'm definitely interested to see how the X2 twins perform. Jesse and Jordan. The only way to tell them apart is by their 90s.
Okay, we'll let you do that.
In Australia, do they do 90s backwards?
Yeah, counterclockwise.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's a good point. Like, these are two players we have to keep our eye on because they have that telepathic link between the two. Obviously, not going to be a real thing, at least depends on what you believe in, but that gives you the option to really play a different style and really show what Australia has to this table.
Absolutely. Jesse took home Australia Open, came in first, but now he's in the lobby with EU players, Mitro, and NA players, Saf and Bizzle, who performed really well in Secret Skirmish 2 weeks ago. And it's going to be really interesting to see how all of these players in the same lobby kind of mesh and how the outcome shakes out.
And the thing is, we have our big names you mentioned, like your Safs, your Bizzle. With Saf in particular, he finished first place in duos in Secret Skirmish, second place in solos. But he had the most eliminations in duos, and he had the second most eliminations in solos. He's been so consistent at that tournament, which is why I have him picked to probably win today.
And that's a great point as well, because, it's something that maybe...
Hey, bro, venga.
Secret Skirmish
Te hago promo, que fui a coger una
we
papita.
looked at how Yakos played last week. Those eliminations
Que
in
me
this
estaba
format
desmayando
are what
ya.
changed games. So if he can repeat that kind of performance, that second can quite
Venga.
comfortably turn into a first.
And I think it might, actually. I mean, the thing is, there's so many big names here, but there's still some that just stand out beyond the rest. And
Hasta que
on
empiece.
the other side of that coin,
Hasta que
right, we talk
empiece
about
te hago
players
la
that
promo.
everyone knows about. What about the players that people don't know a ton about? Fa and history coming in from Brazil.
Hasta
This
que
is a
empiece.
region where
Hasta que empiece te hago-
esports is probably like one of the most ingrained things within the culture. I think maybe like
Vamos.
South Korea is the only only country more ingrained in them. They have so many fans behind them. They are actually the best players in Brazil as well, and are representing themselves, representing their country. I think they're 100% a force to reckon with.
Absolutely. Also, players like Faxfox, who's generally known
Vale.
for landing
Eh,
going to contest some of those known players. such as
Percuervo
Ann, maybe
2019. Nada más ni nada menos.
Keep an eye on that.
Mira, yo estoy
There's another
suscrito
player
al
we have to
tuyo, bro.
mention. The Prodigy, Milan, just turned 16.
Yeah.
Vale,
There's always a
sube
young- whatever
Fortnite.
esport, it's one thing you learn. Whatever esport you had, there is always a young
Geometry
card with
Dash.
eyes on this guy, right?
And not only is he a Prodigy,
Ah,
for a
hace
reason we're
cazando
gonna see today,
scammer, mira,
he
hace
plays on
cazando
a
scammer, ole.
laptop, if I'm not mistaken, at home. Like, this guy is
Juega
able
con
to play in
subs.
the worst conditions. Now coming here with the top of line PCs, the monitors.
Ah, mire, ya se regalando
I
armas,
wonder how much
ole.
better he's gonna play now because of this.
Yeah, it's almost
Pero a
like
ver, a
a
ver.
meme, right? Like
Yeah.
Milan playing on a potato, like a
A
little
ver si
dinky
tiene alguna
Do you think he
épica.
requested specifically like a laptop to play on instead of a PC here?
I
wonder.
think he tried. I think he tried.
Vamos a ver el último.
I want to talk about Season 8, though, because obviously we had Season 8... the
Hola
update,
gente de YouTube,
dropped
estamos
just a few
sacando un
days
nuevo
ago
video
now.
para el canal y bueno, en este video me cambian dos ratas y bueno, me sacan un lanzabolas de nivel 106 y nada, estaba con un amigo mío que él también lo va a subir a su canal que tiene...
¿Y qué tienes? Una... Ah, tienes armas al 130. Oh, sí.
Yo también puedo ir al almacén, no tengo materiales.
Sí, yo también.
$82.
82 y 58.
¿Quién quiere 82 y 58? que es el nivel 18 y quiero tener una temporada.
Pero bro, ¿y qué? ¿Es que en niveles altos te hacen falta armas nivel 130? Yo es que estoy la máxima que tengo es al 110, 100 y algo, 109 creo. Vale, ¿y cuál quieres que te ponga? Partí en dúo y sorteo.
Bueno, gente, antes de empezar con el video les quiero decir...
Claro, a ver cómo construyes y tal. Para el código de Fortnite, dice. Para el creador. Bro, mira, en Instagram mira cuántos
Hostia.
tengo. Y no me lo han dado todavía.
Cayó gente.
Creo que no.
Pero a ver, esta la gana. Espérate un momento. Mira, mi canal 3400 y no me han dado todavía el código. Lo pedí, lo envié al correo que hay que enviarlo tal y no me deja. No me deja, no me han dicho nada. Ni, mira, sí. O para decirme que no me han dicho nada. Lo envié 2 veces. La primera vez lo envié, pero no sabía que había que tener 1000. Digo, lo envié. Y la segunda lo envié con el de Instagram y no me ha llegado. Me llegó lo de... ¿cómo se llama? Mira, va a empezar el torneo. Vamos a ver el torneo. Chicos, ayuden a llegar a Fer Cuervo a los 1000. Mira, Fer Cuervo 2019, lo busquen. Mira que va a empezar el torneo.
Have to be able to adapt. You got Season 8 coming out. You're going to have to maybe change up your location. But I think in the end, everyone is generally
pero ¿cuánto espero
dropping
él?
anywhere on the map. They're just more confident at those specific spots. So I would assume they're still going to be fine overall.
I think that's going to make it interesting for me as well. It's just these first few games where these players are dropping certain areas. Say we have a couple of the big names just so happen to drop next to each other. That could be a big change because we've seen how one single game and one amount of points that you gain in one of these rounds can hugely affect your final standing.
Yeah.
You say that Saf and Bizzle land next to each other at the start, you know, and everyone's like, okay, like one of these guys might die here, and then all of a sudden there are no points on the board and not the points that you want. The changes, they changed the meta like so significantly that, as you say, learning on the fly is going to be so important for these guys. And one thing I wanted to ask you, Speedy, is there any players that you know that adapt quicker than others, that sort of when the start of their seasons kick off, that all of a sudden they're like, okay, we pick it up straight away, we know where
Yo todavía soy un youtuber pequeño.
on the fly and really make it their own.
Ponle que a lo mejor la gente que se suscribe es porque ve algún vídeo que le gusta, pero después ve otro y a lo mejor... No, mentira. O sea, a lo mejor ven este vídeo, se suscriben, pero mañana no ven el otro. Cuando yo tenga más, sí. Cuando tenga 1 millón. No, yo te hago promo, Envíame, yo qué sé, etiquétame en un clip. Claro, envíame, yo qué sé, un clip o me, ¿cómo se dice? Me etiquetas en una publicación tuya y después yo te hago promo. Yo qué sé, súbeme un clip dando con Frank y seguro que te ve un montón de gente.
Like I mentioned before, Saf did amazing in Secret Skirmish. I expect him to perform extremely well here.
I got a player for you we haven't talked about just yet.
A ver si empieza ya.
Number 1 earner in EU, 9th overall. That just
A ver cómo juega la gente pro.
EU. This is his chance to not only win the whole tournament, but I think more importantly for him to go up against 72 hours. Like that's a victory in its own, right? You know, forget the trophy, forget the prize money. He wants his chance to go up against his rival.
Mira, está Mid, está Cloud, están todos los pros.
And I can't wait for it because it's going to be epic. You know, whichever one of those wins is going to be celebrating the chair.
And a couple of players I want to talk about as well that were kind of challenging.
Cuando vayas a hacer la publicación, etiquetas a una persona, como en el Facebook. Empezó, vamos a ver.
Oh man, so Facts Fox, we wanted to look at this man in particular, and I'm a little bit disappointed off the bat here. At least in solos, I'll say this though, Speedy. We talked about him, and he's been so vocal about how often he wants to go tilted, but he's given it up off the bat. So adaptations, as we were just talking on the desk, we're seeing players do that, at least here in solos so far today.
I 100% expected him to drop tilted, but it looks like he's opting to go into one of his most populated, more contested areas now, the pirate ship.
You're going to have Thunk Bomb there, as you can see, towards that north-hand side as well. He's going to have at least a couple of chests off the guy. Actually, 3 of them. Looks like he's actually read into this position quite well,
hay tres cofres aquí.
chests off the bat. That's to get him loaded up relatively well. You can see he's got the redeploy in there. He's got the SMG, a grenade launcher as well.
The only thing he's missing in this loadout is a shotgun. He can't really contest someone close range, but maybe he could pop a couple of grenades at an opponent, get some shield tags.
Well, let's see. So, unfortunately for him, he's not going to be going tilted. We're not going to see the battle of him up against Aiden. We already do have our first eliminations rolling in. Jarl is going to be dropped off the bat here. Fnatic going to be down 1 player. But yeah, I'm a little bit sad to not see him, but at the same rate, I'm proud of him to adapt his
Mi Instagram lo tienes aquí. Debajo de la descripción tienes mi Instagram, mi Twitch y mi tal.
Yeah, so it looks like he's been relatively.
Pero espera, te lo pongo.
Still has that chest up above him if he does need it. We have Demo up against Eric off the bat as well. So a little bit of building going on now, and it looks like Demo. Actually, both players not going to have any sort of shields. Demo's the one applying this pressure.
Absolutely. The reason you land here in Diner is because you don't want to get contested, but didn't really work out according to plan.
All right, so while we do see this fight breaking down,
Así,
takes down Shinken.
así se llama.
To update you.
Mira, este es Ghost.
Have a relatively good spread.
DMO.
A couple of players already being
Ghost
dropped.
Demo.
I'm trying to go over the list. Is any notable names?
Demo taking down Eric.
Sí, se cargó a Eric.
Beautiful pop.
Yep, very, very beautiful. We see Sam.
¿Y dónde está?
Flexi, German
Yo quiero ver a Meat. Meat está por ahí también.
In the meantime. And just to remind you guys at home, this is a different format. Every elimination matters. Every elimination gets you 5 points on the board.
Al que acabaran de matar es más mal. No se puso ni una escalera ni nada.
Hide in there and hope your opponent doesn't see you. Try to sneak around.
Mira, Smith.
That's actually Milan's duo, the 16-year-old prodigy that we're talking about before. He's got a legendary compact SMG. He's got the shotgun as well. He's got a decent kit, but what he doesn't have, Speedy, is the health to work with here, especially up against the Vic.
No, he needs to get out of here, and he needs to get out of here
fast. The Vic.
It looks like he's going to be trying to do so. As you can see now, the Vic going to be taking down some of these walls, replacing it for himself. And you can already see there's a major battle happening here on top of things. Windwalker now. Going to be up against
Mira,
Power,
Windwalker y Power.
Power had recently taken out another
y no se enfrentan entre ellos. Es en solitario. Mira, mira, ahí le dispara.
Well, the big names that we expected to be looking at over the course of today.
Claro, este se quiere ir a la zona.
Yeah, Power just kind of disengaging there with the drift board. It's a nice little mobility item to get you in and out of situations as fast as possible.
A ver si se me escucha bien, un momento.
Kind of off to the side there. Kuna.
Yeah, it's going to be up an interesting fight here. He actually does have the high
position
up against him. He's just looking for that
Mira,
shot.
lo tienes aquí.
Trying to take down multiple walls so you can get
Abre la caja de la descripción y mira ahí dice redes sociales. Tienes Twitter, Instagram y Twitch.
Actually, you got the great little replace up. He's not getting the elimination just yet. Another place to be
Mira, me lo perdí.
So that'll be his first elimination. We heard a trap go down in the last second there. A couple of clingers as well, even Sport.
Wow, como edita, como edito.
Or respect, I want to call it. No, but disrespect definitely there.
Dios
you
mío.
have Myth now, a player that we haven't even talked about.
Mira, ese es Myth, pero está tocadísimo.
Partner for tomorrow when we get into our duos. He's got Kripa to fight with here, to contend with. But so far, only 9 eliminations have gone through.
Absolutely. Myth's landing spot is typically Lonely Lodge. Didn't get affected by the Season 8 patch, so nice little rotation there that he's used to.
You see Tixi able to get above Zypad.
Hey, ¿qué pasa, Rafa?
Zypad in this situation, Speedy. How do you kind of fight your way out of this?
Bro, suscribirme no sé, pero te puedo hacer promo. Hago promo. Lo que ahora están echando un torneo y a ver, vamos a verlo. Para ver cómo juegan los pros.
which I think is really important to
Yeah,
see.
none of these players
Si
really
quieres
wanna
suscríbete a
engage
mi
each other. You
canal
can see
y
by
cuando
the way
haga
they're
las
moving
promos
around. They just
puedes
kinda
ser el
got into an
primero en
awkward
entrar.
situation where they ran into each other, and they said, "Hey, you know,
Mira, Kripa
let's just,
contra mid.
go our separate ways here."
Yeah, let's just back away. Let's just play for the later on stages of this one. Myth still looking for Kripa, and Kripa seems to be the one wanting to take the fight here.
Yeah, so even though Kripa has high ground, Myth is healthy here.
And he's making the push happen. Only 8 builds, 7 builds left here for Kripa as he's using
Oh.
all of his materials for this engagement.
¿Cómo le
Down to
dio?
9 HP, he's got a first aid kit, but the stink
The
bomb
stink.
comes through. And it looks like the stink bomb will take him down. Myth gets the
Qué
elimination.
buenísima
and
el
Morphle
mid.
gets his first
¿Cómo
double
le
kill.
dio?
Love to see it. Myth performing well in a tournament environment.
Heiser up against Jesse. You wanted to see the X2 boys. We're gonna have our first little inkling of a fight here as looks like he's gonna eventually just back away here. He's got a couple of clingers. I like to see these clingers. We haven't really had many of them go off in the early stages, but as we know, transitions to that mid game,
Mira, este es Naruto.
to that late game is where things are really interesting. Now,
Mira,
Bowman
Beehive y
gonna be under
Navi.
a couple of shots here
Y
up
Navy.
against Beehive.
3 players up here on the mountain. It's kind of
O
an
sea
awkward
que
situation. You can't really disengage. There's
La
no more
abeja,
storm wings. You can't
hi.
leave. There's a couple of zip lines that you can take, but you know, overall Beehive just kind of holding on to that high ground.
There are 3 players though. I wonder if Beehive knows there's a player like pretty much directly under him. The thing is, he's fine. He's in the circle for now.
Yeah, there's
Doesn't
no
really
rush.
need to
I mean,
move.
Beehive has a rift. He can get out of here. Skype has a rift. They can both get out of here whenever they want. They're in zone. they
Mira,
have
estos
plenty of time.
están igual.
Bomb
Es
and
Ghost,
Demo, 2
Ghost
players I
de
didn't expect to be going
Demo,
head to
¿no?
head this
Demo.
early on now, Speedy. But it doesn't seem like we're gonna have a fight break off just yet.
Y Face Bang.
Funk Bomb and
No,
Nate
Face
Hill,
Bang
both
Bang.
duos, currently in solos, but they kind of have a more passive end game style. So I definitely don't expect them to see them pushing aggressively towards
Mire, tiene Fox Fog
any
ahí.
situation that they can avoid.
Well, maybe not them, but Fox is here in the vicinity, and we know him to be very, very aggressive. He has a launch pad if he wants to use it. But again,
Imagine just went down in the kill
Es
feed.
que mira cómo juegan los
yeah,
pro.
Zypan does secure that elimination.
No, esta gente
But I
si
like to
está
see
ahí
this
es
with
porque es
4
pro.
players
Es un
close
torneo.
vicinity, and again, I kind of agree with you. I kind of want to, you know, bring to life your sentiments again.
No,
I don't think we
juegan
see any sort of
encerrados
engagement just
en-
yet. Myth now, potentially trying to come in
Mira
as
mid.
well. Just pick up the quad, going to be looking to come around. Jordan now, the other X2 player with Seth hot on his heels. He's got a decent kit to use too.
Mira,
Got a sword
fíjate
in there,
toda la gente.
couple of
Dios mío, el
small
mapa.
shields.
Yeah, he's looking good. Definitely playing for endgame. It's kind of what we expected to see, right? The first game, everyone just feeling each other out. You know, aggressive players like Faxfox.
Pero esta
no
gente
eliminations
tiene el
yet,
ping,
first circle,
tiene que
and,
tener ping 1.
Typical of what, you know, a first game should kind of look like.
FPS a 1 le tiene que ir.
Oh, Stink Bomb coming in. He knows there's a player there now taking a little bit of damage. Throws it ahead of him, trying to catch him off guard. Seth is just being pressured as Jordan's looking to actually close it on this elimination potentially. He's got the shotgun for up close plays, going for the replace. He gets it. He goes for the edit as well, but that's a great escape
Oh,
here
tómalo.
by Seth.
Quería ir de listo y mira, al final lo
How
mataron.
long? And
Oh,
actually, Seth
left.
actually escapes and
Lo
manages
mató
to turn
Seth.
around to take down Jordan.
Qué
With a
buenísima.
great little play. Uses the ramp to block the shot, right? Then gets above him and drops.
I absolutely expected Jordan
Vale,
to
Fer
win
Cuervo,
that engagement.
mira,
he
pues,
had the shield or the health tag
espera,
on him.
deja que
He had
acabe
the
esta partida y
he had
después
the
ya lo
high
miro.
ground, and Seth ended up turning it around.
Now X8 gonna be tuning in with him here as his kit. Yeah, looking all right for now. So having a little bit of a strong start, which is very important for here. Dementos
Ole.
be on Team Secret now.
Pero es que mira
For
cómo
an early
construyen,
engagement.
editan.
Saf, and Saf is the player I have to win this whole thing, to win this whole tournament solos. And no, Saf
Buenísima.
goes down. The commentator's curse
Dementos.
comes through. My boy Saf, I'm sorry, I apologize. But Dementos, that was a fantastic shot.
Buenísima de
So
Domentos,
I
¿eh?
really wanted to see Saf in the end game and show
Es
us
que mira
what
cómo-
he could do.
We got a pirate
Mira, está
cannon.
Vilex,
We
Ghost,
got a pirate
Blocks
cannon. I want to see
Here.
someone get
Provoke.
an elimination with this.
Y mid.
I wanna see
Mira
someone
mid detrás.
blast out of it like
Mid
Team
está aquí.
Rocket and get across the other side of the map. And our Provoked is going to be on the high guard. He's got Vilex and BloodX under him.
It's kind of funny that we see these players setting up here. They know there's a cannon, really good in case they don't get circled. Just kind of launch out of there. If you're in a cannon, you can get 100 or 260 meters in one
Yeah.
direction.
And you can do a lot of damage with it too. You can do, I think it's 100 direct, it's like 50 splash. That's a lot of damage
That's
to
a
do.
lot of damage that you can inflict on
Yeah.
your opponent. Their Vilex, really weak.
Yeah, I think it might be time to use the Rift here to escape this one, just to go for the first aid. Got the Storm Surge coming through. He's actually below the threshold. Now he's going to be above it, luckily for him. But the pressure's going to be coming through.
Oh.
Provoked. Going to get that elimination. Get his
Provoke,
first now.
buenísima.
Provoke ends up getting that elimination nicely. Unfortunately, Villix did not use the rift and did not
Pero ves,
rotate out,
juegan
just
todos
kinda
como
sticking around,
encerrados.
hoping that he would
Mira,
get
ves,
lost
este
in the
está en
sauce,
una
but
casita,
it ended
este
up working
en
for
otra
him.
I kind of
casita,
wanted to
este
see
en
him
la
actually use it, right?
casita,
Because he had the
este
first aid, he
igual,
had the
y
opportunity
este
to retreat
escondido.
from here, heal back up, keep himself alive to get into that top 50 where he can start accumulating these points.
Yeah, the problem with using a rift,
por
especially
Twitch,
at this
bro.
phase of the game, is if someone sees you
¿Qué
rift,
es
they
la
know
primera
you're weak, so
partida?
they're
Mira,
going
mid,
to the lobbies,
está
gonna
mid
start
por ahí
taking those
también.
AR shots at you. They've been co-vaxing 5
Aquí
hours
se puede
a day,
aprender algo.
so they're definitely going to get some tags. He was weak.
La verdad que yo no soy partícipe de jugar así, de escondido.
On the activity feed yet again. I believe that's his second now so far. We haven't really talked about the Korean players just yet, but he's been doing some work so far, able to get 10 points on the board. You can see Chap able to take down Coach. A little bit of a team elimination there with Liquid Boys. But,
Este es Vialine. No, a ver. Vialine.
Team betrayal. Hate to see it.
Quedan 76 todavía. Y mira cuántos hay ahí.
He's still alive, as you can see.
Hay un montón.
We got 0-7 as well. A player here from China from World Elite going to be participating, still alive so far. As we're starting to trickle down, losing player by player. Flexi has gone down, by the way, a little bit earlier on, just to kind of get you up to date on the players we have had drop.
And kind of an interesting note, there's a lot of players setting up on this side of the map.
Este es
especially around
0-0-7.
You know, this mountain.
Right.
A lot of these players trying to get center zone, trying to get as
Este
close
es de
to
Play
ability
4.
items as
No.
possible so that if they don't get circle,
No,
they
¿verdad?
can move on
No.
out to the next area. So a lot of these players setting up on that pirate ship, like I mentioned before, making sure that they can use that cannon if they don't get the circle.
Oh,
And they do get the circle, so no rush.
He saw Zayt there towards the northern side, able to close in. He's actually the little purple arrow there.
Yeah,
on the
está
map.
Hupek.
Actually a player from Poland as well. He played last week, didn't really have the results that he was looking
Nero,
for. And
ole.
I think it's him and Skix were actually two of the players a lot of people were pointing out in particular that just didn't seem to really rise to the occasion last week. But here's a different chance.
Aim Hero, one of the Korean players here, he ended up dropping tilted. I guess his teammate, that might have been the reason. They might have flipped a coin.
Maybe.
Said Aim Hero.
Ooh, a
you
lot
can have
of them
it.
coming through. Those Zextro gets on the board. The Vic gets on the board as
Lo
well.
vio.
And players
Oh.
trying to drop like flies. It's Aim Hero
Lo dejó tocadísimo.
trying to live up to his
Oh.
name here. He won't be able to. That'll be Hooper.
Hooper.
Come up big.
Dios, buenísima de Hooper,
And
Well, Camo moving on in for the third party. Heard a lot of action. There's also
Ah, sí, venga, lo quito.
But Hoopex is just gonna shield up there.
Tienes
and
toda la
everybody's
razón,
going to
bro.
go their
Te di
separate
toda la
ways.
razón.
So he's safe for now.
And Camo's pretty much ahead of the group so far in retreating from this
Ah,
position.
lo pongo
Mitro.
por aquí, que no moleste.
Mitro.
Nah,
What can we say
el
about you?
que
We
se
wanna
vaya
talk about you
suscribiendo
quite a bit. He
aparece
looks like
aquí.
did get
El único que va a
elimination.
aparecer.
Stompy trying to come through, who could get third party from Mitro from the other side. Stompy's going to be
Venga, y
in a
muevo
very
esto
precarious position
arriba
here,
de
Speedy.
Inter.
Camo, just
De lujo.
locking in
Venga.
on him, not really firing. He wants to get into circle here.
Tienes toda la razón, bro.
From the back.
He's got the rift if he needs it. You can see Camo trying to bide his time. 'Cause that's going to be Cloud.
A ver, espero que ahora no moleste mucho. No,
Healing back up, get back to that 200 HP as the
el último que se suscriba aparece
Yeah,
ahí.
you definitely don't want to waste that rift if you don't have to. So you just
Mira,
want to
está
hold on to
Glow,
that until
está
endgame.
Stomp.
So here's the question for you, right? It's a line that everyone knows. Is it true if you don't use it, you
Ustedes
lose
conocen a la
it?
mayoría de
In
la
these
gente.
situations when you're on solo
Yo
HP,
conozco a mí, mira,
you just
Glow
have
me
to use the
suena.
rift, right? Like the thing is,
A
you're most
TSM
likely not
Glow.
to get elimination. You need
Ghost-
to run
Ghost
to
también,
have another
este,
chance
Ghost
later
Game.
on to maybe break into some points in the top 50.
It absolutely depends. You definitely want the rift for endgame.
Pero la mayoría son, yo creo que son coreanos, chinos, seguro, seguro.
We saw a player earlier. He didn't use the rift. He
Los
ended up going
coreanos son
down.
buenísimos.
So if you're in a tight spot, in a little pinch, you want to get out of there, you have to burn your mobility. You have to get out of there, and you
Yeah.
have to live to fight another day.
Exactly, and I honestly I would respect that play. Just unfortunate that we didn't see it.
TSM Cloud and TSM
Yeah,
Myth,
right next to each
neighbors
other.
next to each other.
Mira,
Duos
está mid.
tomorrow.
Mid está
Yeah,
aquí.
well, they're enemies today, but they're friends tomorrow, or hopefully they'll be friends again tomorrow, as Bizzle does get elimination for himself. You see Stompy doesn't have the greatest kit in terms of weapons, but he does have the 2 rifts. He does have a lot of shields
Claw
to
va a
use.
morir.
Cloud's being pressured by Airwax. Airwax's thing is, he's been a professional player in other games before in a MOBA. He's been playing at the top level, and I know Stress back there is looking at him to be one of the top performers.
Mira, mira,
of
mira,
the
se
course
está
of this
peleando
weekend.
Provoke.
Absolutely.
Ah, no,
Airwax,
no, no.
Another day, another land.
Provoke es el que tiene ahora mismo la altura.
Again, he's going to have the shotgun, the rifts. We see a lot of rifts in play technically at the moment. So when we get into those later stages, things are going to get extremely
pero cómo
crazy.
edita.
A lot of players actually still towards that dusty divot side and towards the southern side of the circle. So I'm imagining we're going to have
Edita muy rápido, Fíjate, yo, hace muy...
Yeah, the majority of the lobby is outside of the circle right now. Most of these players at the broken pirate outpost need to start going on in. I expect a launch pad going in. This is TSM
mira, este era mi
taking out
Dan.
Crippa.
Yeah, good old
Love to
Myth.
see it.
Y este set.
And Seth as well.
Buenísima, esta fue buenísima.
He catches his opponent off guard. He wasn't even looking towards him.
I always
He's
get
able to
nervous
in
when
there.
I see them drop into the box. Traps could go down, could easily turn.
Dios mío, es
the
que
other
mira,
direction.
estaba
Yeah, and you
tocadísimo.
don't want to be eliminated
Buenísima
from a trap, at least
esa.
in game one. Mitro
A 10
as
de
well
vida
for the
estaba.
shot the window. I believe he did get that one. But now we've got Camo there. We've got Nate, Scram, Tomo from Alliance, Sakona
Yo
as well,
estaría
Sneak
nervioso
off the
con
side.
10 de
Again, the
vida.
duo from Milan. And Animal,
Animal.
we haven't even touched on him just yet. I
Es que
think
se están
Zach was
jugando el
saying he's a player
primero,
you
gana
expect to do
8,000.
well.
You definitely want to
No,
keep an eye
mentira.
on Animal. Yesterday during the practice matches, him and his
No,
teammate
ahora no me
Aspect
queda claro.
actually
10,000
won 2
era.
practice games back to back.
Wow. That's a good sign. That's an
That
amazing
is an
sign.
amazing sign.
I just hope they didn't peak too early in the tournament, you know? Get those 2 wins yesterday and then not be able to perform when it comes to the actual matches.
Absolutely. Hopefully the adrenaline left them and they're nice, calm, and collected. Ghost Aiden, they're on the side, just trying to get into zone.
Yeah, good to see him still alive and kicking. I believe you mentioned before Aim Hero was the player that was over towards Tilted, so it looks like they're just disengaged from each other. Storm Surge in effect as well.
So Storm Surge, if a player is, you know, for example here, Provoked has 265 above the threshold.
Yeah.
He's in a nice position. He doesn't have to worry about it, but for the player who doesn't have a lot of player damage dealt, he's going to start getting his health ticked. In a really tough position, he's definitely going to want to start pushing or laying down some fire.
Well,
Otherwise, he's going to be out of the tournament.
Yeah, and, well, at least out of the first round. Let's say he's out of the tournament. We're not kicking him out yet, Speedy.
Out of the game.
Yeah, out of the game. We can see Aiden going to be taking high ground here as we see a lot of players trying to build on and add their own little rooms to this giant castle being built. Milan has fallen, unfortunately. But again, just match number 1. Just turned 16 about a day, or not a day, so about a week ago, if I'm not mistaken. And Jarkos, the man that came in as the wild card, didn't even know he's going to be playing here today in this SOLOS tournament. He's still alive.
Pero ves, editan bien.
I'm definitely excited to see him still alive. I definitely want to see how he does. I believe he's Liquid 72 hours there, still alive as well. So he managed to, you know, get a safe drop and rotate on into the circle.
Jarkos has to be careful though. He's got Jesse off to his
Está
side.
Hardcore,
He's
LIKE,
got six under them. But we're at
Skis.
these stages where everyone's going to be on everyone.
Mira,
by hitting
Solari
these shots,
mató a
getting
Risa.
eliminations where you can get them. You see
Quedan
Jarkos still just looking
48.
for a couple of shots here in between. He's got a launch pad, so there's no need for him to rush into the circle just yet.
Yeah, the ideal situation here is that someone else puts down their launch pad and you just take their launch pad. You don't
Mataron
really
a
want to
Boye.
put down your own.
Yeah.
You want to save it for endgame, save it for that, you know, those long moving circles. And most of these players over here by the diner definitely need to start thinking about that rotation.
Cloud has fallen, by the way, so TSM going to be
¿Ustedes han
losing
estado en
another
alguna
player
partida que haya
so far
acabado
in
así?
this
Kuna's
round.
still in it.
Yeah, he's still
Es que
around.
mira,
And Zeke as well.
son
The thing
todo
is,
casas,
I
todo...
don't mean it to sound bad, but there was a lot of underperforming out of players that we saw in the Polish tournament that we expected to be into the top levels. Now go into this tournament, which is, I mean, unarguably a more difficult tournament for everyone.
Mira,
It's been even
Hardcore sigue vivo.
harder for him to perform, right?
Yeah.
You can imagine, but he's been able to break top 50 so far.
Yeah, players like Zeke who maybe didn't perform as well as they might have wanted
Miren eso.
in last week's
Dios
tournament.
mío.
Definitely a chip on their shoulder.
Parece
They want to
pisos
prove it to
picados.
themselves and everyone here. that they
Jarkos
can-
has gone down.
Increíble.
Brazilians have struck history, gets his elimination on the board, eliminating.
Ahora mismo, en
our
este-
wildcard player.
en
Look
este
at this,
punto
we
de la
see, I believe,
partida,
cannons coming through.
Puede ganar el que tenga vida.
Chad's still alive. I believe I saw Razaru.
El que tenga
Energy
curaciones
Zate,
gana.
another NA player that you want to
En
keep
este
an eye
punto
on,
de la
definitely
partida. Es que
one of
mira,
the top- I believe this is
está todo
Sap's
construido.
Yep, Sap and Zate, different orgs, but friends nonetheless.
Bueno,
here.
no,
But we're
porque
seeing that we're even hearing some
matando te dan
Balrogs
vida.
going off. You can see Zate trying to get some high ground, though he's not going to have the ultimate high ground. It's going to be Alpha, the one to have this, looking for some shot. He's got a couple of clingers. It's not very often, Speedy, we see clingers last this long into the game.
No, probably just saving it here for endgame. Trying.
El del
you definitely wanna
bazooka,
save those
¿quién es?
clingers
Zate.
for,
El del
you know, some
bazooka
easy,
Zate.
quick cleanup kills so that you can get your HP up.
Hey, ¿qué pasa,
Zate
More?
just kind of holding that wall.
Getting a couple of rockets
Bro,
off
estamos
here or
viendo
there,
el
too.
torneo.
Spammed out of
Un
Alpha.
torneito.
Alpha just not letting up. And when you're in high ground like this, you definitely don't want to let up. You want to get as
Mira,
many
quedan 40
tags as possible.
personas.
Ghost
Y mira el
Bizzle's still
circulito
alive.
que es.
Well, this is now the question as we get to as Funk Bomb has been eliminated. The Storm is going to start to move here momentarily, and this is where people need to
Qué
have that
brutalidad.
material to build, to get across, to be able to maintain some sort of positions. I want to see how Alpha is going to try
Mira,
to
el que
maintain
tiene
this
la
high ground.
altura
He's gonna
creo
have to
que
be very
era...
careful in
¿Dónde
how he
estaba?
builds.
El nombre.
Those launch pads as well.
Mira
I think everyone's
eso.
going to be jumping on top of this here, Speedy. You can see the pressure starting to take in here.
Parece
a
el
lot of
Walking
elimination, a lot of
Dead.
damage being done. Skix has fallen. Sakona takes down Nate.
Oh,
Faye's going to be out.
se la
I believe
hizo,
with their
se la
two
hizo.
players. And Bizzle, he's just trying not
Se
to
la
get
hizo.
pushed on. He's
Este
trying to
Ghost
not be
Bison.
aggressive on. He's looking to retreat away from this one, looking for
Oh.
another fight. He might be able to get it here. He might be able to get this elimination
Lo mata, lo
done.
mata,
He's
lo
still
mata.
looking for the damage. The building has come in. He's down
No
to
lo
50
mató.
HP. He can lose
No
this
lo
fight
mató.
potentially, Speedy.
Bizzle's so weak here. Dropping into
Mátalo,
his
mátalo.
box.
Mira, lo mató.
He ends up turning it around.
Takes down
Buenísimo.
Little J. Zextro as well going to fall, one of the most aggressive players we
No,
have in
Lolito
Fortnite.
no está,
Look at
bro.
Vivid, Vinny's
Pero
still
está
alive.
Mid, está
Camo still
Ghost.
alive. Bizzle,
Mira,
just trying
Ghost
to get his
Daimo,
HP
ese
up
es
after that
buenísimo,
engagement.
I think Nikoff, well, he died to the storm surge. A little unfortunate for
No,
their
creo
not
que la
gonna be the
mayoría
best situation.
son
Demo's gonna
comunidad
fall there,
inglesa,
as you see from the low ground.
coreano,
Jamside, where did he even come from? He's somehow been able to take the ultimate high
españoles,
ground away
no
from
sé si habrá
everyone as the storm
alguno.
continues to move through. Look, everyone,
Mira
crazy
este,
mob,
Ghost
going to
Bison,
Japan,
ese es el que digo yo.
And Jamside, he's got 3 eliminations.
Ese va a quedar
That's
de
15
los
points already.
en el
Can he
top
maintain
10,
the spot,
acuérdese.
though?
Jamside with 16 builds left. He can't maintain this high ground. He actually gets to drop down 10 more builds. He has to get an elimination.
Buenísima de
105 pump
de
going on
Jamside.
in.
Looking for Zayd. He's too focused on Zayd. He's being shot from
miren
countless
eso, miren
directions. You
eso.
see Bizzle
Qué
head towards the
épico.
low ground. Speed, Vinny, you have Skeet to the left-hand side with Camo and Animals. Zayd's fallen. He's now dropped out of this one. Jamside going to be floating back.
Mira,
in to
Jamside sí
retain
tiene la
this high
altura.
ground position. But
Bizzle
Bizzle
trying
ya
to
se la
take high
cogió.
ground. Bizzle ends up taking the high ground from Jamside. Jamside, no builds left.
Jamside.
This is tough. How do you get out of this position? He's got the max.
Siete
He
personas.
He has a launchpad, but he can't even put it down because he has no builds.
Oh, he's looking to escape this, looking to maybe
La
build
tormenta
down
que lo
this
coge.
tower as the storms and eventually close in on him. Tomo is looking very good, back to full HP. Vinny on a sliver of health left, just trying to stay alive towards the
murió
lower end side.
Jamside.
Jamside ended up going down.
Mira, ¿ves? Ghost
But Ghost
Bison,
maintains the
el que le digo yo, el que les digo yo, ¿ves?
He's got enough builds to do it.
Mira,
He's got
está en
the
el
first
top
aid kit if he needs as
4.
well. Animal has fallen
Justo lo
as Smith
estaba
able to get
diciendo y
his
mira,
elimination being brought in by
este
the Wand
tío
as a dual
buenísimo.
partner and doing some serious work here. It's Bizzle on the high ground, able to help get the damage.
goes down 1v1.
Skeet's the one to get these eliminations. Now that one builder is going to drop down, take a little bit of damage from this one, but can it's elimination. 14
Mira,
builds
va a
left
ganar,
to go.
es que va a
He's got
ganar,
the shotgun, he
va a
knows where
ganar.
his enemy's going to be, but the time is ticking away. He goes for the jump
Tiene la
shot,
fucking
jump build as
altura.
well, trying to look for any sort of damage he can engage with before he goes for the drop, before he goes for the
Bizzle with
final
no more
shot.
builds.
¿Ves? Es que es buenísimo,
Well,
es
now he's gonna
buenísimo.
have to engage into this one, right, Speedy? You can
Oh,
see
no,
Yeah,
se la
drop
hizo,
down.
se la
Yeah,
hizo.
drop down.
50 HP left. He's trying
Oh,
to SMG with 19
qué
HP.
épico.
Bizzle takes
Qué
the first
épico,
victory
¿vieron
out
eso?
today.
Bizzle,
Es que lo
our
sabía
secret
este
skirmish,
tío. Yo hubiera apostado por
first
este tío.
place winner 2 weeks
Lo
ago.
sabía, lo estaba diciendo y yo hubiera apostado por él.
You love to see it. You love to
Qué
see
buena.
that consistency as well. We didn't get to talk
Qué
about this
buena,
part of
estaba
the show, but
tocadísimo,
consistency is
estaba
amazing.
muerto ya.
Sometimes you need to have those standout games, but hell, if you're consistently in top 3 like this, consistency is perfect for you.
¿Ves?
Absolutely.
Es de
We saw
Estados
Bizzle
Unidos,
there,
eh.
primed and ready to retake high ground once
Es
Jamside
este.
ended up with no more mats.
Este es Ghost.
Took the high ground from there. It was just a piece of cake for him.
Es
And
un
when you're playing like this,
pibito.
right, this is the first game of the day. in
Qué
solos,
buena.
and you
Pues
just
se llevó el
won
primer
the first
premio,
match.
8.000 creo que
You
es.
have to
No,
be so
10.000.
hyped and pumped now into the next.
Dude, I'm absolutely hyped. Well, that good start to the day here, Cam Vincent. You enjoy game number 1, right? Hey, they're warming up. They're warming up. Bizzle's not warming up,
They're
though.
still-
He's
Qué
come out
buena.
the gates hot, gentlemen. A player that we talked about a lot at the start of the day, how he's currently second in the standings as far as earnings is concerned. What a way to start the day, though, for him. The victory Royale and playing that final situation perfectly.
One step closer.
Está Marqui Locura. Espérate, a ver si ponen la lista de participantes
It's a tiny little step.
y la
It's a
vemos.
tiny little step, but it's one of the
shimmy,
7 he needs,
shall we
I guess.
say. Yeah, that's very, very true. Speedy,
A ver,
obviously,
tendrían que poner la
I think
lista de
what stood out to me,
participantes.
In comparison to what we saw last weekend was the amount
Pero
of
espera, o la
early
busco, la voy a
eliminations that we
buscar.
saw in comparison to last weekend. Last weekend we were getting down to like the final couple of zones. We still had around 80 to 90 players left in those lobbies. I think when we got towards the final couple of circles there, we had around 50, 60, and all players seemed much more willing to take those engagements.
Absolutely. I believe some of these players were definitely paying close attention to last weekend.
Vale, ahora
right?
viene
And
la
they
se-
wanted to
creo que hay
incorporate
5 partidos,
that
no, más.
WP, that aggressive gameplay into this tournament, and it showed. You know, 50 players moving circle.
Oh.
Definitely night and day versus like 80 players moving circle last week.
I think it's confidence as well. I think you're seeing all the top players who maybe have not had a ton of experience with this format they're willing to, or actually not even willing, they're just that confident. They play that kind of style. It doesn't matter what format you give them, it doesn't matter what weapons you give them. They're going to try to get aggressive against you, and they're going to force you to make the mistake. Because Fortnite is a game all about mistakes. If you
Mira,
force
está
someone to
Munigan,
misbuild, or
Ryan,
you get above them, and
Funbot,
they aren't able to defend themselves correctly,
Nate
you get
del
those
Face
elims.
Clan,
So instead of
está
playing defensively, play the style, play aggressive. Force them to be the ones to defend.
Absolutely.
Mosway,
If your
del
opponent's
Team
making a
Vitality.
mistake, you have to capitalize on that, and we saw a
Oh
lot
no,
of
¿esto
players do
cuándo
that.
es?
All right, gentlemen. Well, one man who didn't make many mistakes in our opening game is the man who picked up the first victory royale of the day. Adam's down on the floor with Bizzle.
Thanks very much, buddy. I'm joined by Bizzle.
No, pero este es en el de dúo, bro.
Bizzle,
Claro,
intense.
hoy es en solitario. Lolito sí va a estar, pero en el de dúo. Hoy es en solo, ¿ves? Sí, sí, tienes toda la razón. Lolito va a estar.
When you come into that kind of final circle, there's 40 players, like
Este
top tier
Ghost,
players
sí, mira.
together. How does it feel to play?
Tampoco es
mindset change? How does it feel to be
tan
in that
mayor,
moment?
¿no?
I'm playing against the best players all the time, and it's nothing different. Just play your game, and it's proven to work. I've been winning games for a while now, and it just goes my way most of the time.
I've been playing in front of this live audience, this amazing audience here as well, playing against these top players. How much of an experience is this for you as well as a player being here in this major, enjoying being here with everyone today?
Oh, it's insane. This is probably the biggest crowd I've ever seen at a Fortnite event, so it's a first time for me, and I'm just glad to see all the people enjoying it.
Pues tampoco se le ve tan emocionado para haber ganado, ¿eh? Yo qué sé. Está contento, pero... Bueno, es la primera partida.
Confidence is high, but it's a big series, and I need to play good throughout the whole series. Still got 6 games to go, and hopefully I can take another 1 or 2 wins.
Well, one more time, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your Game 1 winner. It's Bizzle! Best of luck with the rest of the tournament, buddy. Mark, back to you guys.
Esa gente tendría que ponerle más emoción.
Fantastic stuff, and great to hear from Bizzle there. A couple of things that stood out for me. Experience, saying he's been in these situations so many times now. He plays against
Mira,
the
se
best in the
hizo
world
4
all the
kills.
time.
Bueno,
These endgame
no
situations
está
don't
mal.
phase it.
And that's, I think, so important.
Mira
to
que es
realize,
un...
like,
¿Cuántos
to be
años
really
tendrá
good at
Ghost?
Fortnite, you have to experience all these
Es joven,
situations
¿eh?
time and time again to learn how to deal with them. And for him, it just seemed like, even in the interview, it's like another day at work, right? It was like, all right, another game, easy. It didn't seem like he was flustered. It didn't seem like he was, like super excited. I mean, obviously he won, but he realized, as he said in the interview, that's just game 1. There's still 6 more to come.
Bizzle there just trying to contain his excitement. I don't know if you were watching, but like he is always primed and ready to retake high ground at all moments. He knows the guy up top might run out of mats soon, and as soon as that happens, as soon as he senses some sort of weakness, he pounces. So we see this every single game, definitely going for the high ground, or at least being positioned to go for the high ground.
So obviously one thing we should point out as well is we have North America taking
Le
the first win
entendí
of the day.
palabras
I'm just saying, obviously I didn't want to say it because you're stood next to me and I wasn't looking forward to
Yo creo que decía como que no quería perder la altura al otro, porque si tocaba el suelo moría. Claro, si se caía moría, mira. De esa altura moría. Se quedó tocadísimo.
Eric versus Demo at the start. I think this is the first competitive
Sí, mira, si no hubiera fallado Zabal, moría.
And he went down to Demo.
Y
Demo
mató
took
a...
that battle and absolutely put him on his back. He actually chunked him with the pump to kick things off. How do you come back from that? When you going up against one of the best players in the world, it's your first
ahora
time
les digo quién estaba.
a live event, and you go down in your first battle against
Vale,
one of the best in the world.
espera.
It's a tough one to bounce back from, right? You kind of have that's a learning on the job at its best.
I think you just kind of forget about it,
Venga,
right?
a ver si me
You
etiqueta.
can't let any one of those eliminations or any one of your misplays or missteps put you on tilt.
Sí, bro, mira,
you have to keep your
estás aquí.
focus throughout the entire series. It was just one game, right? It's just one round. It's not
Nueva
a big deal. You still
temporada
have 6 more
de
to go. There's
Fortnite.
no
Mira, si
rush
pueden seguir a
to perform at,
Ferdia.
the top level just yet.
Mira, te
And I think
sigo
he
aquí,
was
bro.
happier to go down to someone like Demo than to someone he didn't recognize as well.
Yeah, I think that's very true. It's a very good way to look at it. That's going to do it all for our game
Mira,
number
poco a poco.
1, though, ladies and
Yo voy
gentlemen.
por los
Bizzle takes
3,000.
home your first victory royale of the day. We're going to go for a break right now. When we're back, it's time for game number 2.
Mira, aquí. Este me lo hice en directo con la música. Es que mira, el tío se construyó y le di. No sé. No sé, me parece un poquito falso. Mira, estos son los mejores momentos. ¿Qué? Buenísima, ¿ves? Este es Hooper. Mira, estaba tocadísimo a 17 de vida. Y ¡buah! Lo mató, lo mató. Qué bueno. Pero que es que no tenía material el otro, es que se hubiera construido un techito o algo. Qué buenísima de Ghost. Ah, entonces puede que esté Lolito ahora, en solo, no sé, a ver. ¿Y este? A mí no me han pagado los de Intel. Intel, si está viendo esto, quiero un ordenador. Mira, en 5 minutos, chicos, 5 minutos la siguiente partida. Y 7, yo tengo el i7, claro. No, pero ese de 9ª generación. Mira eso. Dios mío. Hiper. Y mira ese ratón. Ole, papá. Hiper. Patrocíname, mándame un ratón de esto. Mira. Mira ese teclado. Ese teclado aprieta las teclas. Tú no tienes que hacer nada, te las aprietas solo. Qué guapo. ¿Por qué me estás mirando eso? Ah, que era Spider-Man. Spider-Man.
Classic you. And this could be us.
¿Qué? ¿Vieron ese trailer? What the fuck? Cinco minutos, vale. Vamos a una ronda de promo. ¿Quieren promo? Si el que lo esté viendo quiere alguna promo, mientras empieza. Si el que lo esté. Todo el que vaya entrando, si me pone un comentario con hazme promo. Fer Cuervo, tú no, porque ya te la hice. Que sé que me lo vas a poner. Pero a ver, y no se puede ver la lista de participantes. Standing, ¿no? Claro. Solo. ¿Cuándo es? El de hoy es este. Pero ¿y dónde está Ghost? Es que ganó Ghost. Tendría que estar el primero, ¿no? Ah, pero este es el otro. Vale, este es el de hoy, sí. El primero le dan 20.000. Así, mañana es el de dúo, que estará Lolito. Lolito se fue. Mira, a ver, Lolito y Isma. No, a ver. Isma, ¿no? Con Vodafone. Luego, ¿quién más conocido? Estos son los de mañana, chicos. Mira, Ghost Aidan. Ghost Aidan con Nimmers. Mira, ves, coreano. 07 y LJ. Son buenos, seguro. No, mentira, estos son chinos. No, chinos son estos, ¿no? O japoneses. Así, mira, Marky Locuras y Ríos van a estar mañana. Pues mañana suscríbase, mañana venga, estamos aquí. ¿Y te fue? ¿Y te fue? ¿Dónde está? Mira, Face, Fanbone. Tenemos que ir con Lolito mañana. Sí, en solo también están. Sí, no, me imagino que si están en dúos en solos también. Entonces vamos a seguir viéndola. Ah, pues venga, espérate un momento. Voy a ir a Twitch y a ver si está Lolito haciendo stream.
Es que tengo...
No. Vale, en 2 minutos. Ah, pues mira, mira, es verdad, mira, va en... Mira, este es el que ganó, no. Vale, Blues, Tux, GC... Mira, Ereti, Rius quedó el 29. Rius va en posición 29 con 28 puntos. Goseidan va el 40. Nate, Face Nate va el 36. Mira, Face One, Fanbone, Atlantis. Sí, míralo, está aquí. Ay, esta gente no hizo puntos, qué raro, ¿no? A partir del 60, no. Mira, Marky Locura es el 71, qué mal. Bueno, todavía quedan rondas todavía. Solo es la primera de... Mira Lolito, el 92. Qué mal. Y Sisma el 100. O Isma, ¿no? Sisma. Qué mal, o es que no están jugando. Me parece raro que no haya hecho ni un punto Lolito. Mira, Sky va primero y Ghost Beast el segundo. Entonces el primero hizo más muertes que el otro. Aquí puntúan por muertes y por posición. No, vamos a ver si Lolito... Lo que me extraña es que Lolito no haya matado uno. O, ¿sabes? Que haya quedado el 92. Me parece raro.
ESL Katowice Royale, featuring Fortnite, is brought to you in part by Intel, HyperX,
Venga, me callo que ya va a empezar.
and PlayStation 4.
Venga, empieza. Empieza antes de que te metan un anuncio.
Welcome back again, ladies and gentlemen, to the ESL Katowice Royale.
Mira, ese trofeo lo quiero yo. A ver quién se lo lleva.
Game number one, and no surprises to many of you at home watching. It was Bizzle who took home that first.
¿Quieren que deje yo el directo? Dejo el directo, sí. Y cualquiera que entre lo puede ver. Por si acaso yo ahora me voy 5 minutos o algo. Yo lo dejo. Hey, ¿qué pasa? Un meme, un saludito para ti.
On the desk, buddy. What a great start for Bizzle, right?
Just amazing. I mean, Bizzle, winner of Secret Skirmish versus Skite.
Inviten a gente si lo quiere ver. A ver, vamos con Lolito entonces.
And obviously, you know, he picked up a lot of eliminations on the way there. 4 decent starts.
Lo dejo aquí activo.
Lots of points
Y ahora
on the
vengo.
board for him. But heading into our game number 2, we saw sort of the you know, Sky going up against him there. We had that EU versus NA battle. We talked about how much of a big worldwide competition this is with the 28 different nations. You just feel like that might have spread a bit of belief. If Sky could have won that battle, maybe a bit of belief would have gone through some of the other regions and some of the players in attendance.
I mean, I think all the regions were pretty happy. Well, I mean, can't say pretty happy if they didn't finish #1, right? I think they were generally okay with the performance of the first game. But yeah, like I think if Skite did get that initial start, things could have been a little bit different. I think we would have heard him screaming with excitement getting that elimination. There's one player I want to point out. If I can do that really quickly. Am I allowed to do that?
Of course you can.
I'm allowed to do that.
This is all you, Jason.
Because we talked about Season 8 and the changes, right? And we talked about some new items, some new things in the game, like the pirate cannon.
Oh, are you really going to do this to him?
Yeah, I think it's worth bringing up. Tyofsky, who is streaming his own point of view. If you want to check him out, just head over to his channel. He launched himself off the map, and all I heard was "niet, niet, niet," and then some other words after that I can't say on air. So
we will make mistakes, right? Okay, mistakes were made, I think is maybe what he'll say. But he's got plenty of rounds ahead of him.
He does.
But if you do have the chance to go and check it out, it's on Twitter, it's out there. Genuinely one of the funniest things I've seen in quite a long time. So,
just to jump in really quickly, by the way, Skite, who did not even win, he came in second, is actually still ahead of Bizzle. So Bizzle, who won in placing, is not winning overall in the standings, which is huge.
I mean, that's the importance of eliminations, right?
I mean, look at those nationalities, Martin. I mean, across the board there, no one dominating at all at the moment. A real spread of different nationalities being represented in this top 20.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking really spread right now. And, I mean, we're only 1 game in right now, right? So, I mean, a lot can change. And we do have 6 games left, so, yeah.
A lot can change, but it's nice to see just not like Canada, USA, 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 Canada, USA.
Yeah.
In top 10. I like to see all these other regions really starting out strong. I want to see them get stronger, though. I want to see the Korean boys. I want to see them step up into some top 10s. I want to see Japan as well. Crazy Llama. I'd love to see him in a top 10 position. History and Fa from Brazil. I want to see them as well in those kind of situations. And like we've been saying, it's 1 game. There's still 6 to go. There's no rush.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that I think we were all very pleased about was the speed at which that first game was played. In comparison to last weekend, we saw some of the solos a little bit, you know, players feeling themselves a little bit, sort of feeling each other out a little bit more. But there was some players willing to engage in the battles here, as we see some other shots of the IEM Expo that we have here. And, you know, some of the players are just playing around some Fortnite while they're here. But one thing I want to go back to just before I was talking about there is the willingness to engage. And a lot of these players, we have some of the best in the world here, and you can see they're all confident in their own ability to win those battles when they're presented.
And comparing it to the Polish edition last week, we saw a lot of players when it came to solos, they would just run away from each other. If they saw anyone, they would build up in a 1-by-1, then they'd be like, all right, do I really need to take this fight? And more often than not, they said, okay, no, we're just going to back away. But here, it's complete opposite. If you see someone, you build up your 1-by-1, but you're not retreating. You want these limbs.
And we do have the Storm Surge, right? So you're kind of bound. Like, you're forced to attack someone at
¿Qué pasa,
some point.
Angor?
And we did see Domentos last game.
Te hago promo.
He was 1 damage below the Storm Surge threshold. And he was having such troubles trying to find someone to put some bullets in. But yeah, eventually he did find it. But yeah.
There was a few like little early markers being put down by players as well, wasn't there? There was one, I think Kuna picked up a kill and he had a little dance on top of the player that he eliminated as well.
Venga, que ya va a empezar. Está Lolito en el torneo.
That's a good way of putting it. But it's just those little things that
vale, Angor. Angor tiene 315 sub a los 400. Yo quiero que llegue a los 400, bro. Sube Fortnite. Pokémon. Mira, sube Pokémon. Ole.
Again, like when you're playing against your own
sube Pokémon, jugando hace NL, ¿eso qué?
Or at least the people that will contest you know how they play.
A ver.
Everything's out the window when it comes to this. You're playing against the best in the world, and if there's someone contesting you,
no, bro.
It's like a 50-50 fight. There's no guarantee you're gonna
Si
win.
tú me lo dices, yo te la hago. Aquí no hay problema.
Estoy intentando no meterme a portales.
Pero este que es de play. No, no, yo dije que si me ponen un comentario, yo les hago la promo. Mira, pues se pueden suscribir a este canal. Sube Fortnite, Pokémon. Ah, mira, juega en Play.
Tío, voy lag, no, lo siguiente.
Te dejo un like y un comentario, bro. Que empezó el torneo. Te voy a poner
Yo pillo validez por aquí.
like, bro.
Voy a comprar una. Es que no tengo material, voy a coger. Estamos cerca del punto.
Oye,
a coger, o sea.
Marco.
Mira.
¿Estás bien?
Ahora cuando termine el torneo,
And for a player
te
who's
vuelvo a
had such
poner,
a
sí.
rough time these last few months, it's great to see he's come into this, you know,
Vale, a ver si nos pone la cámara de Lolito.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said, he did take down Crippa, and that must give him somewhat of a
Si nos
confidence
pone la
boost.
cámara de Lolito
Just
estaría
going into a
épico.
Europe,
Me quito el micro un
taking
momento
down
que
a
va a
European
comer.
player and showing, yeah, NA's here ready to show you how good we are, and
You know, forget NA. I think it's just, I'm here to play. I'm here to perform.
That's
I
right.
got this elimination. Forget NA. I don't care about them. I care about me. And we're seeing some action over towards the volcano as well. 72 hours had landed there using these vents as well to get some quick loot and potentially get out. I still want to see some Conga, though. I want to see some Conga lives being built up here. Maybe in the duos.
And he's uncontested here, and that's what I love about Volcano. You can just like fly around, make sure you pick up all of that loot. If you engage in a fight, you could just, I mean, you could just use those vents to your advantage and dip out, or, I mean, just go aggressive as well. And here's beautiful Tomato Temple. We have Jarl here. Looks like he's contested by someone, not quite sure. There's a third player as well making his way down the hill here.
0-7, unfortunately, has fallen there. So again, one of our Chinese players is going to be eliminated as Animal was able to secure that one. We're going to see Milan, though, again, the prodigy. 28 HP. Not the best of places so far. Aspect, again, has gone down. I think it was to Margin, or Magan, sorry. That was 2 games in a row that he's lost his drop. And we were just talking about that, theorizing what can happen in these situations. Do you continue to go for it? In the meantime, Milan is trying to run away from Animal, who's just hunting him down, trying to get this limb with stink bombs. And Milan, he's just looking for an escape route, but I don't think he's going to have a chance here, Martin.
He does have a shotgun, so he might get a lucky shot, but I mean, goes down to 8 health. If he manages to get a lucky shot, he might be able to take this, but it's not looking too good for Milan. We'll try to make it out here. We have a third player making his way into Snobby, so this could be just what Milan needs to make it right. Yeah, look, Animal and Ares now in a little fight here.
So somehow Milan gets lucky, summons Ares to come over here and help him out somehow. And now Animal's not able to chase on the limit, and he's gonna lose his life. He almost had the elim onto Milan and Ares. I don't know if he knows, but he just saved Milan's life.
Oh, he did, and I'm not even sure he knows Milan is still there. Milan just made his way a bit like switch houses. Maybe he'll find some heals, and yeah, he got a free pass.
And Eric, who dropped to Demo before his first big tournament here, is looking to have a little bit of a change of fate here into round 2. He will have Jordan, one of the 2 Australian twins. Seth, in the meantime, throwing a boogie bomb, I think that was, in towards Eric, looking to catch him out. And he even has the heavy sniper as well, but I believe he's not looking for any sort of up-close and personal engagement, so he's just going to back away.
Yeah, no shotgun makes you do that. Like, you do really want to fight in a distance if you don't have that shotgun, and yeah, I mean, we do have Mythis in here again in Lonely. Crippa, we see Crippa there on the map as well, but he's just spectating as Mies and Myth is in a little fight here.
Myth, he needs a Salim, and he's going to have another player coming in momentarily. He wants to take Crippa down, another chance, and there we go on the high ground. Some damage being traded. Crippa's going to be there, Myth. He doesn't spot him out, but Crippa's not going to hit the shots. Yeah, she hits with the Klinger. He catches Myth with the Klinger. Myth is out. And Crippa gets his revenge.
Yeah, that's right, he gets his revenge, but now he's on the lower ground. He did manage to sneak that, to steal that elimination, and I mean, his health goes up, but gets hit by that explode. Yeah, it does. Oh.
He's running low on ammo, though. You can see 5 shots left on the silenced AR. He's got the compact SMGs he's spraying through. He's got the grenade launchers while he's running out of ammo left and right. This might be the opportunity for him to just run away and give this one up. unless he's feeling that confident. You can see him trying to replace some walls here, Martin. Is this what you would do in this situation?
I mean, he doesn't have a shotgun, right? So I would probably just decide to dip out. I mean, he did get the explode hit, so you know he might feel confident enough. Does get some hits in as well with his P9 with his SMG here.
Yeah, I like how he actually took that second to Kripa to actually build up to make sure, trying to go for the fight himself. And Kripa will fall. Submits will clean up that elimination. Jarkos, in the meantime, had fallen during that engagement. Smeef's going to be out of this as well if you didn't catch someone on the activity feed. Aspect and Animal both out as well, so Sentinel's already losing their 2 players. And it's already been a rough start. Svenos is out as well. Nero's out. Bowman's out. Zayd is already out as well from NRG.
A bunch of different things here, yeah. A lot of different players going down. And look at this. I mean, we do have Sakona here, one of my favorites, versus Tux. Looks like they will engage in a fight.
¿Qué pasa, Sancras?
That could have been inventory. Gets the hit.
Dios, me salió una voz ahora.
I mean, at this point, you do
Bro,
have
espera,
to push, right?
estoy comiendo. Estamos viendo el directo. Mira que español queda Sisma todavía. Isma.
Tux taking the high ground away from Sakona.
Hoy es en solitario, mañana es en dúo. Y mañana juega Lolito y Sisma con Vodafone. Ahora sigo. Dame 5 minutos. 5 minutos estoy. Y así aprendemos cómo juegan los pros. La verdad es que mira el nivel de esta gente.
I like though how Tux, every time you see Sakona try to build up,
hay mejores, pero mira ese nivel. Ahora vuelvo.
So Sakona, you're gonna have to find the low ground. Tux is looking for the engagement, looking to drop in. He's actually almost being pulled down here. He's gotta be careful of potentially any traps. He goes for the end. He gets the win. Nice. He gets the first shot, but it's just a tac shotgun. Sakona gets his own ramp up to survive for now. He also still has the minigun to use, and not to mention now the Storm's here to help with some damage.
Yeah, at this point, you do need to finish this fight up. There's no way both of these players will make it out of the Storm. This fight has to end, and it's looking pretty grim here.
Well, we do have Envy taking down Fat Fox and really on the elimination feed, and Tux will get the elimination himself, get himself topped off in HP, and he should be able to safely transition into the next zone. Dementos, Hupek, and Jesse now in a 1v1v1 battle with Jesse on the high ground. Hupek trying to fight his way through here, and Dementos just hoping that all this fighting stops and he's able to just run away.
Well, Jesse does have that redeploy, so he can make his way out of there. Does not want to be a part of this. Dementos just camping a little bit with his campfire, making sure that, all right, I'm going to stay safe here. You guys do whatever you want. I'm going to chill back. And I mean, it looks like both players dipped out.
Look at this. Milan is still alive. He was down to, what, like sub 20 HP before? He's like at 18 health in that little bit of a battle he had where Ares came out and bailed him out up against, I think that was Animal.
Yeah, and made it all the way from Snobby as well. Oh, Majin not looking too good here over at the Tivoli. Keemstar does have the high ground, and Skix just waiting it out a little bit. I'm not sure if they know that McGinn is slow, both of them at least, but just a little bit of a standoff here.
It's actually a name we haven't even talked about yet, Keemstar. Been very impressed with his, I don't know, his gameplay over this, last practically year when we've seen him in these tournaments. I've been pleasantly surprised by him, but unfortunately, I don't think he's been pleasantly surprised with the results he's gotten. And so far right now, he's not looking in the greatest of positions. But again, with the siphon factor, you could easily turn this bad position into a good one if you can get these elims. And he also has a rift if he needs to get away.
Yeah, that's right. The bottle rocket's doing some work. I believe they did 20 damage to Majin there. Just going to reposition a little bit. As you mentioned, he did have the rift, so he can make his way out. Majin's inventory looking pretty good though. He does have that close range, the long range. He does have some rotation items, and not to mention the 6 clingers.
Yeah, and those clingers can be huge here too. Couple of replays. Bowman has gone down. This is the fight we saw with Ares. He's able to actually save Milan somehow, and Myth, unfortunately, just getting caught in the back. Kripa sticks him with the clinger right there.
Yeah. He actually got the stick off. I didn't see that. I thought he got the hit off a headshot. Oh.
And the thing is, he stuck him with it, and he shot him in the head after. So it's like, all right, that's just even more disrespect for you. I'm just going to eliminate you in any way I possibly can with any damage. As Nutty Hive was in a 1v1 there, too, able to win out on that. I think Majin actually just won a fight too. He's got the 1 elimination, even lower on HP. Yeah, he's been very rough.
Must have picked someone off. His health is a little bit lower. I believe he's using a campfire right now. Oh, Sting's coming in from Seth as Jesse's trying to push his way up here.
Thing is, Storms as well starting to center around that northeast side, which was the part of the map that's been changed the most, if I'm not mistaken here, Martin. So things are going to be very interesting to see how things transition from there on. You see Seth now looking to go for the push in onto Jesse.
Ooh,
Now
hiding inside
Jesse's
the
using the, yeah, exactly, using the storm to hide, so he actually doesn't take as much damage.
Yeah, we've been talking about that. If you are being gate kept through the zone, you can just use the storm to your advantage and rotate inside the storm rather than just trying to push your way out when someone's in there. Like, just
well, not only was Seth fighting Jesse, now he's fighting Jordan as well. You got the twins here, and Jordan actually caused a little bit of traction. He hits the shot. He gets the shield now gone. The heavy sniper doing some serious work.
I believe he did hit the quad there actually,
no.
and not him. But we have Storm Surge coming in, but you see that Seth is above the threshold. He doesn't need to take this fight, but if you're confident, I mean, what do you do? Oh, gets a little bit hurt there.
But he doesn't have a shotgun, Martin. He doesn't have the greatest equipment to fight up close and personal. He's trying to out-heal here with the bandage now. Only 2 left to go, so he's not going to stay healthy for a long time. In the meantime, Envy has fallen, though. As he only, I believe, 1 elimination this round.
Jordan does have 10 bandages though, so he can take his sweet time. It's a little bit more annoying for Seth here, who only seemed to have 1 bandage. And yeah, it's going to be a standoff here until Seth... I mean, do you think Seth will try to push up here, or will he just make his way out? I would make my way out, and it looked like he is.
Well, can he get away from this? He's out of healing. Storm is taken away. I think he has to look for the fight now against Jordan. He needs an extra 50 HP, and Jordan's more than happy to... sorry, not given the opportunity for it, as you saw Seth there in a split second, was able to go for shots. Even though in the meantime, not in a great position here, Martin.
Vale, Liquid.
Alpha versus Vivid, and Vivid was actually Alpha's duo partner, Bowman's partner back in the secret skirmish. So they have a little fight here to see. Bowman belongs to me. Vivid
contra el Team Navi.
And in the storm and no heals, he does have to finish this up now. Ooh, hits the beautiful pump.
Buenísima.
Alpha eventually goes down.
A crucial elimination for him. He was certainly going to fall.
Pero está lejos, ¿no? Yo creo que está lejos, que va a morir por la tormenta.
Make his way through, but that was too close for comfort. But that's what you see out of the top players, to realize the situation you're in.
Tenemos a
to make the right decision at the right time.
And here we have it over by Lagoon's Jetside trying to claim the wall from this, but I mean, what can you really do here? He's trying to claim the wall. All he has to do is claim it, edit, and get that pop shot. But he just can't claim this wall.
He's got to be careful that his opponent doesn't take a window of the shot. Now the Ram's going to come through the edit as well. He's trying to run away, and Jamside will clean that up. Gets his first elimination now done.
Yeah, gets some extra shields, a bunch of shields actually, and he's looking pretty good. I did see he had about 100 builds left. Yeah, he's in the zone, so not much he needs to do now. He does seem to have the Lagoons all to himself.
Quick update as well. Fa from Brazil, from INS, has dropped earlier on in this round, so he's no longer to be with us.
Lo que no me ha quedado claro si el principio es el nombre del clan o es su nombre. ¿No?
A little bit of a rough time here for some of our
¿Cómo se llama? Miss.
Well, I feel like a commentator Kirsten come into this entire solo tournament. He was the player I had to win the whole thing, but he is starting off not as strong as he'd hoped.
And I'm just loving this circle. We have players that need to rotate through the volcano.
A ver si Lolito, algún español llega al final.
A little bit longer, but I'm going to be satisfied with this. Poverty just hanging around in this little 1x1 here, right above History, who's not looking that good on health, but I do believe they're inside the circle, so they can just take a little time, maybe try to go for a third party here. His inventory looking kind of okay, materials not so much.
Well, we're getting closer though, to cross into that top 50. 64 left to go, and
lo tiene justo arriba.
History might not be in the greatest of positions, but he also doesn't really have to move because
es que mira el circulito abajo a la izquierda y quedan 60 personas poniendo 40. Mira, este es el que ganó antes.
And I love this. Just look at Bissell set up
creo
right
que
next
ganó
to the vent here. And he can just, I mean, if the circle moves, jump in the vent, go for a free rotation. And that's what I love about the right side, the top right side. There's so many vents. You can use them to advantage. You can rotate pretty much through the entire side of the top
Tiene para irse con esto de, ¿cómo se llama? Los hazers. Mira, ves eso del volcán. Tiene eso para ir.
So quick at reacting and so good with his aim to be able to secure the limbs he does need to start to build up a lead. And if he runs away with this second round, I feel like everyone out there's going to have to start to look towards him as the man.
Mira cómo edita. Vas a ver cómo el tío edita ahora.
Players are starting to hug each other as the circle gets closer and closer, and smaller rather.
Hacen unas ediciones muy pro,
we have Item here looking really good in his inventory. A bunch of shields, enough materials to make it to the end game. I mean, not a lot of rotation items, but as we mentioned, the vents will work in your favor. You don't really need these rotation items at this point. Rifts are always so good to have, though. Once we get to those moving circles, and as you see in the minimap, you can see that supply drops actually showing up on the map now. So that's a change with this new season.
You can see, I think a player is right next to it here, looking for some sort of chance.
Pero Lolito, yo quiero ver a Lolito.
You see a lot of players are already inside.
O a Marky Locuras tiene que estar por ahí todavía.
Just trying to bide his time. I can respect this. Hupik trying to go for Shinken here on the low ground. Trying to edit his quick little window in, but we know in the next few minutes is where things are really going to start to kick off here. So Koner is also out of this fight. There's so many players they were expected to have, these top 10, top 20 finishes that just haven't made it through. Even Vivid has been eliminated.
Yeah, anything can happen here, really. We see Funk Bomb here.
Es que esta gente ha practicado mucho, de ir de casita en casita. Y yo creo que Lolito y Marky, eso no creo que hayan hecho muchos torneos. Yo creo que esta gente está practicando mucho para ir así.
Sky, I mean, #1 EU player basically.
Bueno, también quedan 59 personas en un circulito pequeño.
Shotgun still here for Hunter, so he's having a rough game. A lot of players
tienen miedo hasta de asomarse.
Have been having rough games in terms of their weaponry. Not a lot of pump shotguns, at least out there from what we've seen.
Joel's trying to push up on the Sky tier, but he's in such an open area, so you did get some shots fired upon him from the back. Sky seems like Sky managed to pick up some shields. I'm not quite sure. Oh, he does have some heals as well. We do see him probably applying some bandages here. Yep. So he's,
en este punto es importante o matar o tener vida.
Has followed, unfortunately. That's going to be to Dementos this time. History able to
es
get
por
his
punto, o sea que aunque quede primero, da igual. Si el otro le hace más muertes, puede ganar.
Hunter closing in on him to survive. It's going to be difficult. Boyer takes down Nate, and Hunter, instead of actually going for the engagement, just going to back off.
Vale.
Use that launch pad to get a better position, hopefully for his sake. Just look at how many players he just landed around. Kinstar is going to still be alive. Tyovsky has not flown off the map here from the cannon this time, so he's looking to redeem himself in round 2.
Está Hooper,
Trux, Fanatic. This is uphill. Players need to rotate.
Está Vinny, que está Crazy Llama.
Yeah, that geyser. It's got to be massive, right?
Tyovsky.
It's about the players who can adapt the quickest, because that wasn't there in Season 7.
Pero Ninja, Mid y
esa
gente.
Rotation technically.
Ninja
no,
Lolito.
That player who can hit the shots and just wait for everyone to rush into it, clean up some eliminations yourself potentially.
That's right. You will probably predict players to start using this vent soon. So see, Hupik has a pretty good spot here, just guarding the vent. And so it's not really a free rotation. It's pretty much risky. It's a high risk, high reward kind of play.
I almost want to see someone like build above it, just so if anyone tries to take it, they're just going to hit their head and not actually be able to escape. Milan has taken on Boyer, so he's gotten on the board here as well. A golden AR here for Hupik, who has that one elimination to his name, is looking for more. You can see Cloud. You can see a lot of big names here still left alive. And now the Storm Surge going to be active. You see the Geyser being used. And the Storm is going to move a little bit southwest of the volcano. So we're not going to see any action there just yet. I still really hope, Barton, that we do get the Storm to move in that direction, because we've already seen
50 personas. ¿Cómo pueden quedar 50 personas ahí?
That's true. I mean, the first moving circle will move pretty far, so it could make its way all the way into the volcano, and I would just love to see that. The chaos that would ensue.
¿De dónde?
Hupik taking a little bit of damage.
Yeah. And Zeke took down Milan too, so he's going to be out of the fight. Crazy Llama. Demo as well going to drop. That's to Black Shoe. Fizzle still going to be there fighting, and you can see.
Mira, Ryux sigue vivo. Mira, un español por ahí está Ryux. Ryux sigue vivo. A ver si hay suerte y llega al final. No, lo mataron a Ryux. Atlantis lo mató.
A lot of players now joining this building. This is going to be
y Lolito tiene que estar por ahí, ¿no?
Everyone's landing pretty much on top of each other.
Yeah, 45 people left to go. And it's going to be go time here soon as the Storm is going to continue to close in. You can see just how many people are guarding these guys. You can see even a supply drop coming through as well. That's going to be up Jules who's going to actually look to secure this. Now actually curious to see when he gets out of this. In the meantime, Zextro looking for some shots. Imagine down to very low HP. Actually got the elimination here, so he gets his own elim. He gets back to 200 HP. And now he's in a great position because he even has a launch pad.
Mataron a Ryu.
And as you said, like, he used the vent, but it was really risky. He did end up going down. I would kind of see Zexor to maybe block it. I do think the vent is blocked now, however, like you mentioned earlier, so maybe we do get to see... actually, I do think you can go above the vent and use it, although it's blocked by...
Nadie se quiere ir porque tienen ahí eso para volar. Mira, fíjense, ahora se van todos cuando avance la tormenta, se tiran todos ahí en el volcán ese.
Whistle's got the HP advantage. Item is on the transition, very low HP. Funk Bomb as well. Somehow
Mira,
still alive with
se va a
about
ir
10
uno.
HP to his name. If he gets this elimination onto Item, he could be looking at about 60 HP. And Zextro, Razru, both on these high ground spots.
Razru just on the high ground does have the,
the
RPG as well.
Este es el que tiene la altura.
3 eliminations, a lot of materials to work with, and not to mention the high ground. He's in such a good spot right now.
You see Scram, he hits that geyser, immediately gets tagged up. Everyone going into these geysers can be shot at. If you hit these, you could be net yourself quite a few. Razru's up to 3. Ares has fallen to Zeke. Actually, a lot of eliminations coming through. Jordan's going to fall, so I think the X2 boys are going to be out of the fight in this round. Zeke eliminates himself, well, technically, from Storm Surge, I guess.
And as we see, the circle starts moving north here. So Kaiser go down in the action feed.
Este tío es bueno,
right now. The circle is moving slowly up the mountain here.
Este se puede llevar la victoria.
Oh, Vato taking a lot of damage when he's trying to fly with the vent.
Yules.
See, Isa's going to fall to Tyovsky. He's going to fall to Blood X Jules. Looks like he's basically on the ultimate high ground position. But again, with that geyser, you can never feel safe. People can just launch themselves up towards that top position. Vato, as you mentioned before, very low on HP, as well as Hunter. He's just trying to get a little bit ahead of the storm here, maybe buy some time to heal if he has anything. But he's going to fall to Funk Bomb, who was on about 10 HP before. He's been able to build himself back up to about 75. Hunter gets tagged up from Jules. He's looking to close this one out, looking to edit his way down into this one.
Jules tiene la papeleta,
here from the high ground, able to get back up high in the sky, but not really able to get to
tiene la altura.
Will not give up high ground for the launch pad. We'll decide to keep the high ground and just extend. Item trying to claim the high ground as well, taking some damage, but not quite sure he's going to make his way out of that. We see Bissell going down, eventually Chinkin as well. Beehive not looking too good. Nikov going down. A lot of players just dropping like flies right now. Chinkin down, Beehive like we mentioned. And just look at this. Jules just keep this high ground.
Just keep this position. Now the question comes into this, Spartan. Will EU take their first victory in the solo tournament of the ESL Katowice Royale? You can see Jules now looking for the drop down. He's running out of materials to build with. He actually might take a
lot of damage. Qué tonto, Jules. Se cayó Jules, qué tonto.
Still going to be there somehow with about 30 HP.
Keenstar in a very good position. He has the zone on his edge.
Tenía la altura que todo.
Razru trying to pick up some mats here, pick up some existing loot, but doesn't really get the high ground any longer.
4 limbs though. This could be a big game for Keenstar.
Se apresuró mucho en bajar y al final pasó lo que pasó. No le construyó.
Eliminations really start to rack up as we're down to the final 4 players. It's going to be Razru towards the low ground with Keenstar to his side. Hoopek just trying to stay alive in a little 1v1 as Zextro is looking to transition as well. The Storm is continuing to move here.
Won't have time to use those bandages. The Storm is moving. You need to move with it.
Claro, si la tormenta avanza, te tienes que mover tú también. El tío se curó, pero al final perdió más vida. Buenísima de Cerro. Buenísima, lo encerró. Oh, Keenstar. La tenía, encerró al tío, solo tenía que seguir construyendo y ganado.
That's a good word to explain it, the chaos, but I think it's more of the controlled chaos you saw with those 4 players left alive. It wasn't they're just running out in different directions, but being very careful about
buenísima de Keenstar. 5, a ver cómo quedaron.
I think one player got one of them that he
Sí, es este Keenstar, sí.
Really unfortunate, but hey, they made top 4. That's a lot of points for yourself.
That's right. I mean, if you look at it this way, the circle was moving low ground, right? From high ground. So it's really hard to...
¿Cómo van en clasificación? Hay que verlo.
You gotta move with it. You gotta go down some layers and make sure that you don't end up in the position.
Antes ganó Ghost Isla y ahora ganó Solar y Keenstar.
There we go. The Swiss Superman claims his first victory royale of the day.
Coreano.
Congratulations to Keenstar there. 5 eliminations as well. We know how important they are. We're going to keep hammering on
Pero
about
se curraron el escenario. Mira, Pueblo Tomate.
These tournaments, it seems, in solo performance.
Está guapísimo.
What a great start for him. Second game of the day. EU's on the board with the victory royale.
And that's what we wanted to see, right? Now let's get someone from China, maybe someone from Korea, Japan, Brazil. Let's get some other countries in here involved in this. But it's really great to see as well, because I mean, Keenstar I feel like hasn't had the performances he's wanted to of these last few months. but he's always been a standout player in my mind. He's always been one of those players that I've always had on the tip of my tongue that I wanted to see to really start to perform, and seeing him win
Qué mal.
game number 2
Ryux llegó casi a la final, casi, y lo mataron. Justo cuando hablé de él, lo mataron.
You know, we have the first couple of games here, just the perfect way to get back into it. His confidence is probably boosting right now, and yeah, a lot of games still to go and looking really good for him.
Now, I want to pick your brain a little bit, Martin, at the end of that game, because we got to that towards the end game there, we got towards the end zone, and that volcanic vent, if we want to call it, or Geyser, if obviously you have some sort of geography degree underneath you. I'm a more simple maths. But that really did affect how that end game played out. It was almost like hitting that as late as possible when claiming high ground became a lot of people's strategy there, and it's already interesting to see Season 8 having that impact in this second game.
Yeah, so I mean, some players might think, all right, here's a vent, I'm going to, they plan ahead. Here's a vent, I'm going to use it to rotate to the next zone, but all of them might not really think, hey, this might be dangerous. There's a lot of players around here, and they're just waiting for someone to, all right, just walk up to the vent and try to fly away, but as we saw, that didn't really work.
Up to the vent.
Pero aquí están los...
You wanted some conga, right?
Yeah.
Conga up to the vent.
Españoles está Isma, Lolito, Marquilocuras y Río.
Maybe if you're the last person
Españoles, sí.
You watch everyone fly off and you're just like, I'm in. Take your time going in there, yeah.
Sorry, can you show that again for us?
De Estados Unidos está Asa,
It became a point of interest.
Ningmex.
People realize, okay, we can build around this, we can use this to our advantage.
Está Mid, está Glow, está Jab, está 72 Hours.
Or we can use it to force fights.
Okay, well, what is
Está
going to happen now,
Animal
gentlemen, is we've got to hear from our winner from the last game, picking up the victory
Hay
round in
muchos
our
de Estados
second
Unidos,
game.
mira, está Sekro,
Thank you very much,
Phoenix,
Mark.
Tan,
Très
Bon,
bien, monsieur.
Nate,
Kinstar is our game
Vivid,
2 winner.
Coach,
You must be absolutely
DMO,
overjoyed
Bisle,
with the victory royale.
Bisle.
Sure. Perfect. Now, going into
Lo
that
mejor
game,
son mis
obviously
nombres.
the map ended.
Y mira,
on a new part of the
británicos
map with
están...
Season 8 at the
No, de
volcano
Reino Unido
area.
está Tom,
Did it impact
Smith,
your game at all, or was everything the same as
Are.
usual?
The volcano just saved my entire game, so without it, I was dead.
Being here in this environment as well, with this amazing crowd, competing at ESL Katowice Royale, are you enjoying your
Mira, de
experience so
Brasil
far?
está
Are you nervous?
History,
How do you feel?
No,
I'm
solo
very
hay dos.
happy and nervous at the same time, so...
Now, I've just heard in my ear as well, apparently, due to that win, you have gone top of the leaderboard with 141 points. Big round of applause from our audience, please. You got Bizzle just behind you, our Game 1 winner. You must be really confident going into the rest of the competition at this point, being on top.
Tifue y Clot
Well, we wish you
no
the very best of
participaron
luck
porque
with,
los premios
with the
eran
competition.
bajos.
Guys, give it up once more for Kinstar! Woo! Man, a few words.
Se nota que querían el dinero nada más.
Guys, let's go to Mark and the guys. What did you make
Dice que
of
no
game number
fueron
2?
porque era el premio bajo.
Stuff, Kinstar, man of few words,
Bueno,
but a man of
que haga
many
lo que
eliminations,
quiera.
which, he's going to be happy.
But
Right?
man of action.
Man of action.
Yeah.
Bueno, esa gente no necesita ahora mismo.
To see him perform like that, and again, like this is the second time we've
Esa
had
gente
an
no
interview
necesita
where the
dinero.
players didn't seem flustered. It didn't seem like they
Con
were
todas
like
las
really worn out
suscripciones
after
que
that
le dan.
match. It's just like another day at the job.
A lot of these players are used to it, right? So at this point, it's just another Monday for
Tal y
them.
como va.
But I think we're seeing as well the
Clasificación.
importance 100% of these eliminations. Like you can see Kinstar will take first
Mira, en
place. Bizzle, even though
clasificación
he had
va,
that first place
Kinstar
finish
va
in
primero,
round one, he's
Ghost,
still not the
Ghost
king at
Vice
the moment. And
va
Sky
segundo.
was actually ahead of Bizzle, even though he came in second place. So the limbs are starting to throw really big spanners in the
Es
works.
que
So Airwax
español
has been able to
ninguno.
make his
Y
way up into the
tercero va
top 10
Tombo.
as well, most importantly.
And you can see all of the other players as well, some of the big names. We're looking at Smeeth as well, good performances from him, 12th place. All of these players in the top 20. We know after just a couple of games, very much still in striking distance. We saw
Está guapísimo
last
cómo
weekend,
se lo
a couple of
montaron.
big bomb games, you drop a big elimination-based game, that you can easily fire your way up those leaderboards and really put yourself in contention of winning.
Yeah, and I want to point out one player that we just saw in the top 20.
Lolito está más
Thing is, it's not
abajo
like
que
he
Mark,
came to
man.
this event
Y
to be
Ryu,
playing
Marky.
duos or solos already. It was Milan, the 16-year-old who just turned 16.
Hay cuatro
that actually
españoles
took
y
him as
ninguno
his
está
partner
en
to
el
play
top.
with, right? Yeah. And he's like number 12 in solos. Like he's doing a fantastic job.
Últimos no van, eso es verdad. Último no.
Tomorrow. Don't you find that a lot as well? Like sometimes all eyes will be on one player, and you know there's someone who, like what's happened here. He's picked up a duo partner, and they do outshine in those early games. It's like
Es que
no eyes are on them,
ese es
all the eyes are maybe
buenísimo.
on their partner, and then
Los
all of a
de
sudden they
Ghost
have these big
también.
games, and then all of a sudden we're like, hey Smeeth, we've got our eyes on you,
Y
buddy.
Mid,
Like now we're
Mid
going to start
también.
watching you because you're putting in these phenomenal performances. Do you think that maybe that might put a little bit more pressure on the young man?
I mean,
Que
it
dio
might go
impresión, dice.
both ways, right? If it might be you know, if it was me, I would be like, all right, this is my proving grounds. It's time for me to prove myself, and that's just what he's doing, and a lot of players are doing as well.
Okay, gentlemen, fantastic stuff. Game number 2 is done and dusted. Kinstar picking up the second victory royale of the day. We're going to go for another break. When we get back, it's game number 3.
Volvemos ahora, chicos. Ole, vamos a ver los highlights, los momentos más destacados del torneo, ¿ves? Behind mató a... Se ve tan fucking shit que no se ve ni el nombre. Mira, mataron... Seth mató a... Es que ir con un quad y te disparan y el tío no se ha bajado. Esta sí la vimos, esta sí la vi. Oh. Es que mira esa edición, papá. Mira eso. Es que yo creo, para mí que no le daba ni una bala. Y lo mató al final, flipa, Miren esa locura, eso es Walking Dead, segunda parte. Y el del bazoquita, mira, pum. Este la tenía ganada y mira lo que hizo. Ese para mí ganaba. El Yule es ese. Y aquí mira, solo encerrándolo ganaba. Y el tío fue a editar. Es que tonto. Se la regaló a quien está. Yo digo que solo construyéndole una pared se moría por la tormenta. Este es el dúo de mañana. Mañana hay dúo. Venga, mañana lo hago otra vez. No, ole. A los torneos. A los epic. Vale, en 5 minutos, chicos. No, un poquito más de 5 minutos. Tercera partida.
Think he can't carry his team while streaming in high resolution? All the while recording a once-in-a-lifetime win?
Intel. Es un poquito más de 5, 6 minutos. 6 minutos vuelvo, chicos. Les dejo aquí con los anuncios de Intel. ¿Ves? Intel. Mándame un ordenador, por favor. O esa tarjeta. Venga, esa memoria RAM la quiero yo. Vuelvo ahora, 5 minutos.
Why are you watching me when this could be you? This is so you.
Classic you. And this could be us.
This is all waiting for you. PS4 for the players.
ESL Katowice Royale, featuring Fortnite, is brought to you in part by Intel, HyperX, and PlayStation 4.
And we've had a little bit of a change on the Desto after our first couple of games. As you can see,
Vale, estamos ready. Venga, ya estamos otra vez. Chicos, empieza. Tercera partida. Tercera partida y nuestro equipo español está para retirarse ya. Ryu, Lolito, Marquilocura y Sigma. Y ninguno está en el top. Estaría bien ver el punto de vista de ellos también. Pero como esto es un poquito aleatorio, no sabemos a quién.
Obviously, great to have you here. A lot of energy either side of you, but you've been doing your bit as well. You've been bouncing around as well.
I'm bouncing around. I'm hype. I can't wait to be there. This guy is an encyclopedia of knowledge of Fortnite, and every single elimination, he's like, "This is such a big story. It's got to be this. We've got to talk about this." So we are ready.
He made him soup once, and it was like, we're like, oh, okay,
we're
going too deep here.
So ready to get into another game.
You can't do me like that just because I'm excited for this. Everybody's excited. So.
I'm gonna feed off it.
Yes.
A mí me sirve esto para aprender, para ver cómo construyen ellos, cómo editan, qué es lo que hacen cuando alguien les rusea por arriba, por abajo, por un lado, por el otro. Pero a ver.
Just how people are adapting.
Yo quiero que llegue un español al... Más que sea que llegue al top 10. Yo sé que tienen mucho nivel, pero... Los dos que han ganado, King Star y Ghost Isla, buenísimos, Los chavales esos buenísimos. Mid también ha dado nivel, pero no ha llegado muy lejos. Lolito, al que no he visto es Lolito, ni nombre, o sea, ni el nombre por aquí, ni nada.
Speaking of high-level engagements, there's one player who we should have a quick look at. 72 hours, caught up with our guys earlier today.
Mañana es el de dúo. Mañana sí es el interesante, que pueden dar más nivel Lolito y Isma y Marquilocuras y...
My training routine is usually I wake up and go in the hot tub, hang with my dog Jackson, and then
del Team Liquid, este es 72 hours.
Yeah, I think I need to work on my early game. Right now I don't have a drop spot. It was taken by a volcano, so if I could find a drop spot that will not be eaten alive by a volcano, that would be great. Thank you.
Gracias.
The most important aspect of the game would be adapting. Like if your
el aspecto más importante del juego es...
You need to be able to adapt. So adapt
no
at
sé.
will.
Yo digo que dijo la construcción. Yo lo entiendo, pero después de decirlo en español no me sale.
When I was born, easy claps.
Está curradísimo este torneo, ¿eh? Tienen un escenario bonito, mira las llamas. Y hasta los maquillos. Flipa.
It was game 6. I was really tilted, so I put on Moisty Merman, and then I won the game.
¿Y Lolito?
Nice.
Lolito, por favor.
Solo
salen cuando ganan.
The cool experience I had is sitting here on a box doing an interview next to my friend the llama. Radical.
¿Eso dónde es? Alemania.
Okay, I mean, I'm putting it out there right now. Best interview to date. 72 hours, you made a fan out of me, buddy. That was phenomenal stuff.
Okay, really, buddy?
Yeah, 100%. It's my kind of guy.
That sarcastic humor is what we love to see from 72 hours. I can't get enough of it. I'm always watching the stream when I'm
Voy a poner otra foto en el stream.
Just chilling in my box.
No sé por qué me aparecen las flechitas así de...
There's not been too much clapping.
Not yet. 37th.
We've got 5 more games to go. We'll see whether 72 hours can actually get himself into the game. Certain players do kind of steady themselves the later we get into a tournament. So perhaps late game, 5, 6, 7, maybe we'll see 72 hours.
One thing that I highlight for me from that interview as well was the fact he said, I played Fortnite, I get straight in the hot tub. Then he's moaning about the fact that his drop spot's been taken by a volcano. Dude, there's hot springs all around that place. That should be perfect for me from that interview as well.
He was contesting it all during the warm-up games, and he's so far made it out alive, not burned. So we'll see. He's going to continue to try to win that. I think he's contesting one of the Chinese players, actually, and we'll see if that continues to go well for him.
Okay, so looking ahead to our game number 3 before we get the action underway. A couple of players who are lingering down the leaderboard a little bit. Myth sat in 79th place. I mean, we always talk it up about, these guys and how we expect them to perform, but it is a long format here. We have 7 games to get through. I mentioned it before after game number 2. One big game can put you right back in contention here.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talk about a player like Myth who made a name for himself very early on in Fortnite. Still hasn't had the big tournament win come through it. A couple of blips on the radar early on, but every time we start seeing him getting through these early games, starting to rank up a few eliminations, I don't think it's quite as dire as it used to be for Myth. I just want to see him put up that big game where you get a bunch of eliminations and get to that late game. Unfortunately, hasn't really happened in the first 2 so far, although he did shake off the nose with the first engagement in game 1.
Yeah, taking out Kripa in the first game. That was a big name. I was looking at that fight backstage, and I was like, oh my goodness, Myth, you just took out Kripa. One of the people that I was expecting to do really well going here into solos just because of his Winter Royale performance. But then things switched up for him in game 2. I think it was Mies, one of the French players, and Kripa as well, kind of pinching him in Lonely Lodge. So we'll see if he's going to be able to recover and kind of come up with a new game plan going into the next game.
I'm glad we're talking a little bit about the French players because the international flair here, some of the largest number of nationalities facing off against each other, and the French competitive community has shown up. We've seen some big results from Keenstar. Airwax is on the top 10 as well.
Well, here we go, gentlemen. I mean, you can see game 3 is underway. Paul, I cut you off for just a second there, but this is because it's all you from here, buddy. Stress and Baller, round number 3 underway. Take it away.
So, here we go, dropping into round number 3. Everybody's thanked the driver, and we are riding on with Liquid Poach, dropping in for game 3 of the ESL Katowice Royale. He's heading for that east
empezó la partida. Estamos expectando,
He's been dropping towards that sunny steps, trying to win that drop, trying to make some
bueno, a ver si aparecen los nombres ya.
Also grabbing those early elims. It's one of the best spots.
Yo espero que se me haya cambiado la foto, si no da igual. Eso es un error de YouTube.
On the broadcast team, we've been kind of dropping as many different of the new locations as we can, figure out exactly where some of those high value pockets of chests spawn.
Mira,
and certainly over the steps there are some areas that are better than others, but all around that we're taking a look at some of our high ticket players.
Venga, a ver si podemos ver algún español.
This has maybe been a little bit less
Yo vi a Rix, pero de lejos.
We've seen in previous patches.
Lo mismo es no verlo.
Strongest
Crazy contra Pixai. Ese va a ser el primer combate.
Coming all the way over from Japan. We'll see what he can put out for us in terms of performance. So many international flavors here. It's so fantastic to see. Crazy Llama right now, really trying to find a good position. You just have that AR and
puede que gane este, tiene 100 de escudo, el otro tiene 50.
Up against Tixi.
Yeah, and Tixi and Llama, they're pretty far apart at this point. If Llama can peek out, maybe get 1 or 2 shots. Tixi know exactly where he is. He's going to build up, run right into him, takes that first tack shot, connects with the shield. Tixi drops very low from that as Llama drops off the back with 29 health.
That's a great start there from Llama. I was going to talk about the positioning he had on top of that. He could easily track Tixi, but Tixi straight through him on top of that blacktop. And now he's on the back foot. He's going to heal up. Llama's not really pressuring, so he can get those heals off pretty safely there.
So this is right on the safe zone edge through retail. At this point, I'm pretty sure we just saw Tixi drop off to the left side, look to disengage. This is something we saw
aquí
quite
tenemos,
a lot
mira,
in the Polish
Isa
tournament area. Aspect now taking on Isa in the bottom floor of this now Pirate House. Aspect drops to 1 health, survives. Whoa!
Aspect está uno de vida.
So he's going to be able to try to pop them, but Isa also popping his minis as well. I don't know, Aspect is so close here.
Oh, peeks through the door, does get the rotation on that ramp piece, and look, Isa's going to try and go up to that first floor. Now up to the second, going to try and drop through the top here. I did see Dynamite in the inventory of Aspect, so it does have to be careful that that doesn't just get planted beneath him, but Aspect is just trying to bandage up.
Yeah. And the edits were so good to get out of there. He does have holding that edit, making sure Issa's not going to push down, but got to be careful of all the windows around.
Importantly, in the action feed, Aiden just fell, now trying to go the hard way through the floor, trying to replace as much so that Issa can own this entire building, trying to just find any angle. There's the Dynamite we were talking about.
Como al final Aspect le gana, estaría súper épico.
He's going to make a run! Connects with that first shot as Issa now, a lot of his health has been evened up, trying to find moments just to get those mini shield potions.
He's really opening it up here for him to
Se quedó sin material. Se quedó sin material.
He's kind of gotten back into his fight. He's clawed his way back in here, Stress.
Clawed his way back in, but he still needs to be able to find the angle. Aspect trying to bandage up around the corner. Oh, Issa
my
the shot doesn't quite get it as Aspect does end up falling in the end. A long fight around this house.
Casi se lo carga, casi se lo carga. Bueno, por Ghost, pero Aspect casi se lo hace.
Right now, all the way towards the end of the standings, and he really needs to get a confidence boost going to the next game.
Mira, aquí está Tomo, Max Salibur,
at this point in the tournament, you really needed a big game. Or just start being consistent right here. This is make or break. And really, Aspect, that's rough for him there.
I'm glad we just took a look at Tilted, because Aiden had actually fallen earlier in this game to one of the X2 twins. We saw it in the action feed in the bottom left of your screen. This is Svenos against Airwax, two of Europe's most notable players we're seeing go head-to-head. Airwax currently hovering around about that 10th place spot in the standings. And unfortunately, on the low ground against Svenos, I feel like he's going to back away.
Yeah, one of the things here at the block, there are 3 players there. Actually, we're going to hop in
with
aquí
tenemos a Vilex.
Over towards retail row again.
Dynamite is ticking on that fuse for now. Vilex gets kind of
boxed
in on the top, and now trying to look for any
Qué
kind
épico,
of
cómo
way
editan. Yo ya me hubiera perdido.
Another one of the Solary players that we spoke about, that French-speaking community minigun we saw rampant last week in the Polish tournament. A little bit of use here from Vilex, but he can't quite get down to the bottom floor here.
Trying to get in the box as many as possible. He's going to try to take that roof piece. A little bit of time for Nikov to breathe here. We'll see how many materials he has. I did see a few elims, so he should have a few, but there's the edit. Almost gets it. Oh, he gets down.
Oh my god, se la hizo.
Taking out Airwax in the kill feed. It was Nikov. Ended up getting a lot of pressure put onto Nikov from the side.
Crazy Llama, the Japanese player, saw stalking somebody else in retail row earlier, and he's coming in with the grenade launcher, gets 1 tag, 100 damage on the Nikov. He's going to be able to heal up with the minis though, but still, Crazy Llama, here he comes.
Yeah, trying to get through that top floor, tries to get the edit, doesn't quite get it in the way he wants to. Trying to find any different position for this fight, and you can see the vultures circling on the top side of the minimap just before we swapped to this wide angle on the fight. Crazy Llama is in such a good position health-wise.
I think that was his last grenade. There's no more materials here for Nikov.
Window comes out, and look, Crazy Llama trying to readjust with these ramp pieces, but he's taking shots from behind as well. Crazy Llama switches around,
qué buenísima.
Engaged to Nikov.
Nico. Here in retail row. That's 2 in a row we saw, and I think he already
had buenísima el Nico,
hopefully he picks up some materials there from Crazy Llama because the third party is coming in. But here we go, Mitro against Zate. This is such an important battle for Loot Lake.
Yeah, Mitro, a name that we caught a glimpse of earlier, but didn't really see anything in game 2 from. One of those names people expect a lot from. He's got
quedan 80, puede que siga el equipo español vivo.
In a specific way. People say Mitro is one of those players to watch out for, but 0 eliminations on the board for now.
Yeah, one of the most winningest players in EU. We actually see Beehive is also setting up nearby. I think Zate decides he wants to back off from Mitro. Zate is up ahead in the standings for Mitro. I think Mitro is in around 68th position. Zate around 30-something.
Tixi now taking on Poverty. Poverty, a player in the Polish portion of the tournament that didn't really live up to a lot of the expectations that people had put on him. Ended really quite low down, especially, if I remember rightly, on the solos portion. But in Tixi trying to just get any kind of sight he can. But there's a third party, as that was taking out Tixi from the side.
No.
Those are
Fue
Polish duo. One thing I like there about what Tixi was doing, he edited his stairs and stayed on the stairs so he could look down through the wood and try to spot where that player was. Poverty. So here we go. One of the other Korean players, Envy. I think he's in a fight here. Just actually turtling up a little bit. He's in the center zone, so this is what we talk about always, is try to get center zone at the first, the second, the third, the fourth, because it's going to give you the biggest chance of getting that next zone.
And this is always going to be one of those questions when you look at South Korean players, typically in esports, are the pinnacle. Yeah. But so far, we haven't seen it. We're already 2 games in, right? There are only a few South Korean players here. It's not quite in the same way that other esports have seen dominance, and I think that makes for a very intriguing prospect the further we go through this tournament. And we do have a new zone shown up.
Yeah, and it's not going to be towards that northeast. It's actually going to go towards tilted, towards the center of the map. And here, another one of the Korean players, FaxFox, going up against Max Albert. And he's going to rift out. That was a good decision here. Try to get more center zone, like I always talk about. Just like we did say. He's going to rift over. See if Max Albert decides to chase here, though. And look at that loadout. Not very strong for FaxFox.
I think this is a great time for us to talk about the mobility changes that Season 8 has brought on. We've got a lot of people up towards that northeast area. Obviously, the Stormwing was vaulted for Season 8. We also have had a removal of a lot of rifts that not a lot of people have found out until they played a bunch of games. So some of that mobility not so prevalent to get to the later zones.
Estamos en los terceros. Cuando buscan ESL, vale, de luz.
In the northeast area, we actually have those vents, those volcanic vents, and we have cannons all around the map, which you can launch yourself all the way across. I think you can go up to 260 meters. What a nice little addition there. Those cannons, you can see one right on your screen there.
I think one of the things about them are way less controlled than
the
Stormwing, where you just get in the Stormwing. Yeah, exactly. You got to make sure that you know exactly where you're aiming. Unfortunately, Tajovsky in Game 1, if you've seen the clip, off the edge of the map he went. And at this point in the game, luckily, no risk of that happening. We've got this 3-tier fight going on between Shinken and Sinnoh.
And Shinken, one of the biggest upstarts in EU recently, especially through the pop-up
Jin
scrim scene. He's been winning a lot.
No se pronuncia tu nombre.
Jin for now, Shinken is actually rising in the standings in the last game. He didn't play so well in the first game, but now
I
think he's up top 50 at least.
E11.
So we'll see.
El equipo, ¿no? Me imagino que eso es el equipo y no el nombre.
It used to be that this broken house here was one where all the engagements were happening and there was nothing really to turtle up on because there's so many cracks in the wall. But here's a
se quedó bugueado.
Opening that window. I think he was stuck in the
Mira que hay que tener mala
suerte.
Yeah, stuck in the net, but got a lot more than just net at that point. As Nikov, we saw some of his
buenísimo este tío.
This was the drop in that Nikov ended up that elimination from. As a second challenger approached for the rest of that package. And this is this moment of the game where everybody's trying to get into this zone. There's a lot of distance to cover. And as we said, mobility highly reduced. So
vamos.
Where you look at the players like Max Excalibur, there's not a whole lot of fighting actually going on within this building.
Yeah, and actually, Demo, speaking of not a lot of fighting, he's where he drops. This is where he stayed, and he just stayed the entire time. You can see him boxing up in the metal. That's what you're going to be able to get from Divot. Or at least the diner or the factory as well. Trying to drop down Fa here, one of the Brazilian players.
Yeah, trying to just pyramid his way to safety and stay alive inside the building from here. You can see
No, Lolito no sé si está jugando hoy, porque es que me parece raro que no haya aguantado hasta el final.
In that 1v1 for the victory royale, and Keenstar is currently top of the standing, so that's how important that 1v1 can be, plus those eliminations from the game. But certainly Zextro having a good performance.
Indeed. There you can hear another Rift to go going off. Everybody's vying for positioning now. There's 70 players still remaining. They're all kind of boxing up and deciding, hey, how do I want to approach this endgame? Actually taking a shot.
That's ambitious.
Yeah, just a little bit ambitious. He doesn't hit anything there, just the top of the pyramid.
Testing the wind at this point.
Hey bro, te mando un saludito para ti, Jean-Pierre Carreño.
Crazy plays with that.
I'm kind of glad you can't, I'll be honest. There's enough craziness that goes on, and we definitely
Mira, este es el español, Mira, Sigma. O Isma, es Isma, ¿no? Que la X ahora estoy confundido porque no me suena este tío. Sé que juega en el equipo de español. Mira.
Oh no, the launch pad unfortunately didn't think about and look up. That's one of the things always.
Everyone's done this.
Yeah, everyone has. You don't really think about it when you're kind of under in the open of Dusty Divot.
Is he setting a trap for somebody else to use the launch pad?
Vale, queda un español todavía.
It's possible. There's 72 hours. You can actually see him in the outside the zone. He just used one of those vents.
Mira, estos son del equipo coreano.
Kaiser and Jamside. Jamside is doing really well in the standings as well.
Yeah, doing very well. We saw Little J
Tírale
make
ya.
it to one of the later storms in
Tardó
the first two
mucho,
games. But one of the Chinese players represented here at the ESL Katowice Royale.
I think he needs to take a page here out of 72 Hours book and go into that zone. It's still only 2 tick. Go into that zone, grab the vent, and rotate in.
Y yo pensando, esta gente será feliz jugando así.
That mobility is such a good resource.
Yeah, especially
Jugando
for
así
later in the game,
encerrando.
right? When you start
Pero
getting
bueno,
those
es que en verdad
moving
sí, se
zones
están
come
jugando
through. There's
mucho.
Cripple, we saw,
Yo
losing
jugaría
it to
así
Myth in
también.
game
Se
number
están
1,
jugando
but has made
el
his way pretty
10
deep
mil,
in this
no, 18 mil
third
dólares.
game of
20
the
mil,
history.
20 mil
One
el
of the
primer.
Brazilian players represented here.
Pero yo también jugaría así, la
One of the
verdad.
strongest players that impressed me from Winter Royale. He has been
Mira.
on a tear
Hola,
as well.
este
So
tío
he's
ya
one of
está
the,
top.
Shinken and his duo doing with Boyer. He's been doing so well in pop-up, kept so well in scrims. Everybody's excited to see what they can show for us here. But actually, Zisma's in a box there with History. He's got to be careful. History's going to back
Mira,
out.
estos dos se van a pelear. Están ahí, a ver quién es el que edita primero.
He's trying to reset it just to try and get that angle on the fight.
Qué buena, este tío es
Who
buenísimo,
actually
¿eh?
has this? Is it still History has the edit on this, but is forced back behind the ramp because every time he switches,
Tú estás viendo eso,
Yeah,
mira.
this is exactly what we actually do within the pro scene to practice box fights. They literally just get in a box next to each other. But
Son
now
mucha
finally,
práctica,
I think
claro.
that's Demo up top says, "Hey guys, you guys, I want to join in the fun too." So he puts an end to that. And they're gonna relax a little bit. You see History holding the stairs there because you can see.
Claro,
through.
le está aguantando ahí, le está aguantando ahí. Quedan
they're
67.
gonna have to move though, as this
And that's a
storm.
huge problem for Zisma because he wasted
Sinceramente,
that launch pad. So now he has
Lolito, Marquilocuri, los españoles no tienen mucho que hacer,
It's
sinceramente.
going to take forever, so he's going to be on foot.
Big European name at the bottom
Esta
left of
gente
your
juega
screen,
más
Camo,
competitivo.
did set
Los
a world
nuestros juegan
record
más
for solo versus squad.
servidores
One of the,
públicos.
things
Esto
that
es
people
un
like to track.
torneo.
A great player in his own mind. I'm excited to see him playing up
Son
against some of the
buenos,
world's
pero-
best as well as History. He's gatekeeping this storm. Doesn't quite connect with the first one, but that is a lot of shots that connect in the end. Is trying to hunt down this
Buenísimo,
elimination
buenísimo.
for himself, and he
History.
does.
Teammate on teammate again. And that's interesting there. Brazilian
Ya
players.
tenía un
He's gonna actually have a
saltado.
read play, so he's going to catch up to the zone.
Ooh, grenades raining down onto Svenos.
Yeah, that's Lil J again, really harassing with that grenade.
Mira, mira,
launcher. A lot of players
Lolito,
kinda
Lolito
opt
sigue
to save
vivo.
that
Aquí,
ammo
aquí,
for a
aquí
little
está.
bit later.
Mira,
We're
Lolito
only
sigue
going to the
vivo.
fourth zone here.
Some
Ole.
big European names in this area.
Venga, a ver.
Skype. Vivid is over to the left side of your screen. There's 72 hours from America over there as well.
And
so
Animal as well. So
there's someone big from
Vamos,
everywhere.
vamos,
it's so
Lolito.
stacked. Literally everywhere I look,
Vamos,
I see a player
Lolito.
that I need to point out. And now, going into that fourth zone, we got 50 seconds till it moves. Lolito actually maybe looking to get a little bit of
Ahí
aggressive
está, consiguió
onto
escudo ya.
Svenos. For now.
Vamos, vamos, ese es mi Lolito. Quedan 60 personas, chicos.
Too far to go for this zone, so it's not
59,
probably gonna go to
mataron
an
a
engagement unless they decide,
Secret.
hey, I actually need some healing.
Secret Miller.
Lolito maybe had the idea to go into zone to get Svenos.
Este es el coreano.
Yeah,
Los
didn't end
coreanos
up
son
committing
duros,
to
¿eh?
it, although Lolito did end up falling
Mataron a
with
Lolito.
Skype. It looked like that was the engage there.
Yeah, Skype's rushing over there. I think he might have some loot there,
Lo
so he could have
mató
gotten him.
Sky.
So that's nice for
No,
Skype.
sí,
He's
Sky
one of
lo
our top
mató.
players. He dropped to 6th place in the last game, but he's playing so consistently. And that's what you need to do in this tournament.
Qué
So,
mala suerte. Justo
again,
hablé de a ver
fourth
si
zone closing,
Lolito está.
and
Y
everybody's making their way
mire,
in.
estaba
There's
ahí,
still a lot
pero
of
lo
players
mataron.
outside his zone.
And with such a stacked field, you look at the fact that Sky doing well has been
Es lo
a
que
winner
digo,
in the
mira,
past.
esta gente
Bizzle
es
doing
muy-
well. He's won as well.
Yeah.
As Sky, we are watching on with him.
What a nice there by
Juega
Skype.
muy
He actually
competitiva.
edged his way in zone, so that's going to close, and he's going to stay in it. And he used that medal that he picked up from that player on the side there.
Hay que esperar el fallo. Tienen que esperar el fallo del otro para ganar.
That's one shot for that elimination. Saf is up here as well. Saf is going to try and get that easy
La primera se la llevó Ghost Isla, la segunda se la llevó King Star y la tercera.
Well, the zone is still moving, so that
Las
makes
cosas
sense.
están ahí,
He's
ahí.
actually going to leave from Rizard.
Yulex, Yulex se la puede llevar, acuérdense de ese nombre, ¿eh? Si no lo has matado, puede que entre en el top.
Yeah, Saf knows. He's putting enough
Mira,
behind
mira,
him to
míralo
make sure
aquí.
he's covered.
Estaba Yulex.
Great
Mira
awareness
así por
there.
aquí, a ver.
Saf definitely trying to get one of those big performances because he definitely didn't have enough points to go
Yo
into
lo
the
vi,
next
yo
game.
lo
I
vi.
think he had 0. There's Kinstar.
Yeah, that's our points leader, still alive in this game, still safe, trying to get points.
Man, that's consistency. Look at Skype. Look at Kinstar. Look at all these big players.
72 hours, they're
They're
going to
all
have
there.
to move soon. Everybody's got to go when this zone changes.
Half in, half out zone coming right now.
We've
There it is.
seen the storm surge warning as well.
Bottom right of Loot Lake here. Everybody's a little bit nervous when it comes to Loot Lake, but I think people are very comfortable now. And as we get the mats on Elim, It's harder to move there.
Harder to move, and we'll see who ends up being the first to move. Saptic just getting elimination for himself.
Yeah, one point I want to talk about this zone is it's going to go over towards that little bit of slight incline. So people
A mí me sirve para aprender, la verdad.
Nate Hill as well.
Si te fijas cómo editan, ¿sabes? La editan para que la pared se vuelva invisible y te miran a través de ella. O sea, cuando ya está construida, te la editan, la vuelven a poner bien. O la escalera es invisible cuando la editas. Deja, usan mucho la ventanita, y la suelen dejar abierta.
Rocket launcher into there while everybody's shooting. Here's the
mira eso.
Everybody's going to decide, hey, I want to use all the mobility that I can from others.
Oh, mataron a Tux. Mataron a Tux, sigue vivo. Face Nate. Nico. Animal, Vivid, Sky sigue vivo también por aquí. Y a ver si hay algún español.
High ground, he's taking shots at players flying in.
He's just trying to get anything, hit some shields, get anything he can. Importantly, I believe Jesse from the X2 Twins was still alive.
Mira, Jules, el que digo yo, Jules ese es buenísimo.
They are lasting a little bit later. We're into
buenísimo no, la anterior jugó bien.
42 players remain. We crossed that 50-player barrier.
Lo que murió por fail. Murió en un fail por baja muy rápido.
Nice. And we'll see. Jamside, one of our top players as well. There's so many of these consistent players up still.
72 hours, sigue por ahí.
Poverty in this game.
You said Vinny, he's a player that recently having a surge, and in this tournament so far has performed very well as well. So we saw him just last week, or just this week, signing
Mira, Animal tiene la altura
so it's just such a big, massive names right now in this final set of zones.
Skype's still up as well there. You can see him taking some shots. And there, all the clinger spam, everybody is just trying to get any shots they can on people. They never know how low players are going to be, so it's always valuable to take shots. Obviously, you're opening yourself up to a little bit of a risk when you do it, and it is going to go north into zone, but hold on.
Jordan just picked off Camo in that action feed. Vivid trying to track across the top of this one, and here they
pusieron saltador y se le bugueó. Se le bugueó, no, se chocó con el techo. Muere. Murió por la tormenta. Oh my god.
Stuck on 3 eliminations for himself, and now we're in tight corners.
Animal, one of the best endgame players at
mira, este tiene la altura, el de la izquierda.
He's taking it, and I think he has it. So, Mitro up, Vinny up.
Jules trying to track up. Let's see that he doesn't go too high and die to fall damage like he did in game number 2. Poverty trying to track up as well against Raspberry. Poverty actually has stolen the high ground away, but on the low ground is where most of the action
Poverty tiene la altura, se está peleando con...
on such low health, and we can see Funk Bomb right at the front.
Se cayó.
Drops down, takes a massive shotgun shell.
La tormenta lo va a matar a Poverty. Poverty murió.
That's it. Poverty's out from that high engage, and Raspberry is the only player stuck at the top of the screen.
This was the issue last time.
Se le quedaba poca vida. Tenía que hacerlo,
He keeps to hold it.
26 builds left, so he has enough to stay in the zone for now, but he's going to need some of them from further eliminations. 0 eliminations in this game, and opting mainly for placement points as we continue. 15 builds as he puts a new ceiling on the house.
72 hours just got 2
qué locura, qué locura.
I think he just got another one down on low ground as well.
9 personas quedan, ya está por... buenísima.
Massive damage comes through with Mitro checks above him just to make sure there's no
buenísima el Mitro.
Circling the sky.
La tiene, la tiene. Altura la tiene.
This is exactly where he sells. He has the RPG, but he's no ammo. So we'll see.
Lo malo que toda la gente que queda pro y aunque se tengan la altura se encierran y ya está.
Vato, really big pickoff from the low
mira, queda Jules. ¿Ves? Jules, el que les decía yo. Jules ese. Míralo, mira. Quiere coger la altura.
That's when you end up eliminated by Mitro. Is when you forget about him and he's in a building with a trap. But at this point, Mitro still has that high ground. Jules is up there with him. If Mitro can win this exchange, that puts him in such a good position. But low ammo, 9 shells left.
All he has is shotgun shells and builds. That's all he can do, but it's actually going to go over.
Buenísima, el Jules volvió a coger la altura, Se tiró en grieta. Ahí está.
Okay, nobody's diving on him. That's a sigh of relief for him.
sigh of relief, but it also means he's going to have to build back down. Majin has had a great
No.
game so far. I've seen
Murió
his name
Jules, ¿no?
constantly in the action feed. Those eliminations have been ticking up.
Zone, though, that's gonna be it for him. He's gone
No,
down
seguía
to zone.
arriba.
5 players left. Okay, now 3.
Mataron a ahí Aiten, a Nico.
This goes in these late games when you
Jules
just
sigue
get
vivo.
any kind of sight on an
Yo
opponent,
apuesto
you
por
can get
Jules.
that pickoff, get that elimination. And
All
it's
these
so
old builds so important.
Mira, es
for
el
Mitro.
único que tiene
He's
toda la
low on
vida.
material.
Si
He's
se
just
esconde,
using these.
gana.
It's going all over, but now it's going to be the end. And you can see Jules
Yo apuesto
trapping
por
down.
Jules.
If Mitro dropped down, and that would have been really nice.
just hiding a trap anywhere at this point. If you can end up dropping them through.
This is an issue here for Mitro. He does not have the materials to fight Jules here. He needs to possibly keep away. Fat Toe has the advantage, I think, going all the way down to low ground, but Jules actually dropping down. He decides, yes, I want to do
Yo
this. So
apuesto
Mitro
por
actually
Jules.
back to the advantage.
Ooh, Mitro gonna have to build his way down the stairs as Vato does end up losing to Jules.
Lo mató
It's a
Jules, ¿no?
versus one. Mitro is nearly on the low ground.
Ahí
but
está,
now
ahí
Shotgun
está.
maybe
Estos dos
comes
son
into
unos
effect.
bestias.
He really only needs
Yo
one
apuesto
shot
por
to connect
Jules, porque es el que
pick
tiene
up
más
this game
vida.
for himself, and with
Ahora
the high
mismo.
ground, he's just trying to find any kind of position that he can.
It's only a green, though. And oh, that shot was so close from Jules.
No. Jules, te lo dije, el
Away the
fucking
game
Jules.
from Mitro with 6 eliminations to
El
his name
fucking
and the
Jules.
victory royale.
That is such a strong performance. One
El
of these
fucking Jules. Se tenía que llevar una victoria mínimo, pero es que lo sabía yo.
in the second game, and then he fell to fall damage, but no, this time
Buenísimo.
he decides, hey, I'm going to go down. I remember last game.
Este es francés, sí. Jules.
Strong performance there.
Really strong performance. It looked like Mitro had it, but as you said, it's all about that equipment, the inventory. Didn't have that
Qué
ammo
buena.
to take a long
Míralo,
space
míralo.
fight. Leaves it to a shotgun duel, and Jules gets it.
I mean,
Está súper nervioso, no se lo cree.
I mean, Jules, 6 eliminations to go alongside it.
Ese voy a ser yo el próximo,
He had so many
ganando un
decisions
torneo.
to make towards the end of that game. He thought he's got the high ground, but I think in the end it was kind of he was stuck between, you know, I don't have any weaponry of distance where I can pop
Bueno,
any shots down to
encerrando
get
se
the eliminations
ganaba,
on the
tenía
board.
más
So
vida, y
he
el
forced
otro
to
no
take that
tenía
1-1 in the end.
curación,
It didn't
o
work
sea
out
que
for him, but
ganaba,
Jules, we need to
ganaba.
give him all the credit in the world. These French guys, they like
GG.
Poland at the moment, right?
Les Français sont arrivés. The French have arrived. Solar
Ahí está el francés.
No idea what you said.
all these players from Solary and the rest of the community as well. Jules, this is the second time. We saw Mies pop off as well. Skype was in that endgame as well.
Yo creo que ahora
I
le
think these
toca
standings, when we get
al
to see
equipo
them,
español
there are
ganar.
going to be a lot of French flags going up in there. And that's exciting for them.
Yo
I'm
creo que van
super
así
hyped.
porque ha
For
ganado
sure. I mean, the French guys are turning
uno
up. Sky again, another
por
player. I think we
por
really need to,
nacionalidad, ¿no?
keep
Yo creo que
focus
no han
on now
ganado
as we go into
diferente.
game number 4, and obviously we've got 7 rounds
Ahora
to go
ganó
here, but
Francia,
he has
antes
been in that
ganó
end
Corea.
game every single
Corea
time
era.
pretty much that we've seen him so far.
And that's one thing
acuerdo.
from the Polish portion of this tournament that had the same point structure. The consistency is what will put players at the top, especially when it's picking up a few eliminations and high placement. We're seeing some
Claro, lo
massive
importante es
eliminations
hacer
compared to last year.
eliminaciones y
One of the
quedar
things I
en
always
buena
talk about in
posición.
these types of tournaments is maximizing every single game's points potential. So go for those elims, go for the high placement. You got to get the win, and you got to get as many elims as possible while
A ver
doing
cómo va la tabla.
Okay, well, gentlemen, fantastic job as always. Now we're going to go down to the floor with Adam. He is with our winner of game number 3. It is, of course, Jules.
Thank you very much, Mark. Thanks, lads. I'm joined here by
Ahí
Jules.
está.
What an incredible display. GG, my friends. Walk us through the game. How did it feel for you?
I was pretty lucky. I rotated to Fatal, and I had a Rift vending machine for wood, so I bought 2, and I had like 1 pad, and I was really lucky for that.
So when you get to the end game, do you choose to
Pero
play
este es un
aggressively or do you
pibito.
kind of hold back? Because there's lots
Este
of
es
different
un
ways you
niño,
can
¿no?
earn points.
I try to temporize the more time than I can with the Rift, and I play aggressive for the end, yeah.
And lastly, what is it like playing with the creme de la creme, like the best players in
La
the
creme
world?
de la
Is it a fun
creme,
experience? Is it nerve-wracking? How do you feel?
I feel really good right now, yeah.
Well, we are very lucky to have you here. Congratulations. Our Game 3 winner is
Yo no
Jules.
sé.
Big round of applause,
Los que han
please.
ganado, como que...
Thank you guys so much.
¿Qué
thank you
emoción
again.
es eso?
Au revoir. That was brilliant. Let
Tiene
me
la
know you
misma
guys on
emoción
the
que una
desk as well.
piedra.
Mark, Game 3. What an absolute doozy that was. Brilliant.
Thank you very much, Adam. Always good to hear from these
Una piedra
guys.
se emocionaría más.
Because I've learned all my French from Only Fools and Horses.
Yo
and
que sé,
basically
acaban
it
de
means
ganar
have to
y-
excuse your
IPs.
French.
So, yeah, exactly.
Están los 100
I mean,
mejores
obviously
jugadores
hearing
que
from him
hay.
there, saying that he was feeling good
Bueno,
after his drop
algunos
there.
de los 100 mejores, porque hay otros que no
Said,
no
"Oh, wow, let's
participaron.
see you later." And I think he's going to definitely be back up on that
Pero-
stage, judging by the performances so far in game 2 and 3.
Ponle más
Really,
emoción.
the discussion on
Grita ahí,
mobility,
yo qué sé.
puts a big ticket, and you can see
Mira,
as
ve
the
cómo
standings
va.
come up,
Kingstar
how
va
some of the
primero.
players
Jules,
over the last
segundo.
few games have actually
Se puso
performed.
segundo,
Jules
el
taking that
francés.
second spot on it, and that mobility helped him
Tercero,
to it. The Rift,
Razor.
nobody
No,
else has the planes, any of the
Razor.
mobility tools anymore, so flies up the standings.
Yeah, and you can see, you know,
No,
Kinstar
los
still
españoles
holding down
van abajo.
that number one spot at the moment. He certainly is the player.
Si algún
to watch at
español
this point
gana, se
after,
pone en el
you know, that
top.
win coming in
Porque
from
te
Jules,
dan
but you can see how
por
tight it really is between
primera
that top 10 at the
posición
moment after 3 games as well.
65
Nobody
puntos.
really separating themselves too much at the moment. We talk about staying in striking distance. I feel like with this particular format, if you can stay within striking distance when there's 3 games or so to go, you still have a chance of taking home that top spot. And that's, like you're saying, maximize your points in these first few games.
Yeah, one of the things in this format, there's a lot of volatility at the top. We'll see pretty much always a little bit of a shake-up. But it's going to be that consistency and then being in striking distance, like you said, because the last game, that's what we saw in the Polish event. It was always coming down to that last game to decide the winner. And yeah, actually one player that I wanted to touch on real quick in terms of eliminations is Vinny. He's getting up there. He's not really getting the huge placements. He is getting in the end game, but he's getting so many elims, and that's putting him up there. So I think he overtook Bizzle even.
Okay, we'll all keep our eyes on Vinny, of course. But for now, that's going to do it for our third
A
game.
ver, voy a poner español en el directo.
Game number 4.
Chicos, volvemos en 6 minutos. 6 minutos y volvemos. Chicos, quedan. Un momento, voy a poner aquí español. Ahí está. Volvemos en 6 minutos contados. Oh, que mira eso, papá. Esas ediciones son de Pro Gamer. Todo dicho. 7 minutos volvemos. 6 porque es lo que tienen que esperar los jugadores. Y 1 por los highlights. Dicho, volvemos. Nos vemos.
Think she can't get a last-second clutch? Watch this. Think he can't carry his team while streaming in high resolution? All the while recording a once-in-a-lifetime win? Watch this. Think leveling up only happens in-game? Watch this. On Intel Core i7, they'll rise to every challenge. Now it's your turn. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7.
Why are you watching me when this could be you?
This is so you.
Classic you.
And this could be us.
This is all waiting for you! PS4 for the players!
Chicos, 5 minutos, quedan 5 minutos y empieza la cuarta partida. Mira, espera. Mira, Ríos va al 64. Qué mal. El equipo español me tiene decepcionado. Bueno, es que la cosa es que es solitario. A lo mejor mañana en dúo es otra cosa, claro, pues juegan dos. No es lo mismo que ir de uno en uno que jugar en equipo. Mira eso. Qué buenísimo. Mira, Lolito va al 95. Lolito está jugando. Yo creo que no, ¿verdad? Es que me parece raro que... No, mentira, Lolito sí estaba jugando. Pero es que me parece raro que no haya hecho ni uno, ni un punto, ni uno. Lolito, ¿qué pasa? No me decepciones. Chicos, todo el que esté entrando al directo, si me deja un comentario lo hago promo. En estos 3:44 segundos que quedan. 3 minutos 44 segundos. Y si se suscribe, aparece aquí. No sé si se ve, en la esquinita esta vas a aparecer. Ahí está, donde estaba el ratón. Ahí. Si te suscribes, apareces ahí. Mira. Isma y Lolito van casi los últimos. ¿Por qué? ¿Qué le vas a hacer? Vamos a ver si Marky Locuras está en direct. Marky y Ryux. Vamos a ver.
Para hacer él una compra completa. Está muy bien la guardada de Polen.
Era Mongrel, lo está viendo también.
No, everyone in your chat come on, bro, face on stream.
Míralo, Ryux.
Hay delay, gente, 2 minutos, ¿vale?
Solo para subs. ¿Y quién es Ryux? Bro, ¿cómo me pones? Solo para suscriptores.
Tengo 4 partidas aún, ¿eh? 7 partidas llevamos.
Y el otro era Marky Locura, aquí.
A ver si me puedo llevar alguna, o sea, un puesto guapo o algo. Eso ya me vale. ¿Cómo has hecho eso? Ah, tienes que hacer fuerza.
Hay que ser...
Ya, sí.
Mod no, suscriptor. Y Ninja está jugando.
He's gonna shoot us in the window. Come here. Come over. No, I'm not moving. What do you mean you're not moving? Look at me. Come inside. I can't get you out there, you fuck.
Vale, nada. Seguimos viendo el directo, ¿ok? Un minutito queda. Vamos, Lolito. ¿Dónde está Lolito? Lolito no sé, lo tendría que llamar Novita. Lolito, ¿qué pasa? ¿Cómo me vas a ir? 0 puntos. No, eso es como si hubiera ido yo al torneo. ¿Te imaginas que fuera yo al torneo y ganara yo? No, imposible. Yo jugaría los ratas, sinceramente. Si voy y mira, los ganadores de la ronda fueron Bisler, la primera, KingStar, la segunda y Jules, la tercera.
ESL Katowice Royale, featuring Fortnite, is brought to you in part by Intel, HyperX, and PlayStation 4.
Games under the belt then, ladies and gentlemen. 4 more to come today. Game 4 is just around the corner. Of course, welcome back to the ESL Katowice Royale International event. As I say, been full of action so far. But before we get into our game number 4, we want to learn a little bit more about one of our players. We know him because we love him. Because we love the fact that he drops a tilted. He's, of course, one of our favourites. It's Aiden.
My daily routine, waking up whenever I want. Usually after that, I eat breakfast, shower, and then I just usually stream all day. Just stream, and sometimes after stream, I'll just practice. Just practice. I really just play the game every day, so I guess that's why I'm here. I guess why most people here, they just play and they grind. I got into Fortnite by actually watching, I saw Dr. Disrespect playing, and then it was really just popular. People from school were playing it, so I wanted to play with friends. And then from there, I just got addicted to it.
Torneo.
My biggest strength, definitely getting early game kills,
Los
getting
cambios
points
están guardando.
early, and then not having to worry about points and kills later and just go for placement.
Están guardados.
If I had to describe my playstyle, I'd definitely say aggressive.
Mira, aquí tenemos a Jules. El que decía yo. El que lo venía diciendo que iba a ganar. ¿Y qué pasó? Que ganó. Tendría que ir a algo hoy. A algo tendría que ir yo hoy.
Once I got in there, I did really well, made it to my first skirmish, and it just took off from there. Becoming a better Fortnite player just consists of grinding. You gotta play every day. You gotta dedicate. You gotta take away from some of the normal things you'd like to do and just play the game more and really just learn, watch videos of other good players playing. I know some people
yo creo que fui el primero que comenzó a transmitir el directo, porque yo no había visto a nadie, y es el que menos gente en directo tiene. No. Puede ser, ¿por qué? Pero bueno, aparezco por arriba de gente que tiene 1000 suscriptores. Vergüenza les tendría que dar.
Fantastic stuff there from Aiden with some complimentary wobs as well. I love that backing track. I mean, me and Lothar were getting down to that one at the end a little bit. We luckily weren't on camera.
Ya me tiraron para
someone caught it. But obviously, loads of fun, Aiden. He kind of burst on the scene with the epic battle with Nick Merckx in Tilted Towers, and he's here today.
Unfortunately for Aiden, though, currently the first 3 games haven't been so great. He's
no pasa nada.
76
Iremos poco a poco.
Currently, so some of those fights haven't gone his way. Obviously, as you said, we're only 3 games in. There's plenty of time, but I think the focus on NA, that's where I would go for this next game, because we've seen a lot of focus on the European players for the first 3 games because they've been putting up the results.
That's very true. And welcome to the desk, Lothar. Obviously, you were introduced with little dance and some wobs. I'm really hoping it got caught on camera, by the way, so that we can bring that back up. What's been impressed you so far in the tournament? You've been sat backstage for the first 3 games.
First thing that comes to my mind is that the production is doing a fantastic work.
La producción es fantástica,
dice. You know, backstage, we're getting hyped just by watching the games. It's insane. You see all those early game fights that are really well presented. We can have like an inside feeling of what it is to fight early in the early game of Fortnite, you know, and it's something that I feel like viewers didn't have to.
¿Qué estás
experience
hablando?
in previous
Cállate.
matches.
Okay, well, let's touch on those North American players. We should
Venga.
point out as well there's 17 North American players in this 100-person lobby. So 17%. Got that math, absolutely nailed it.
Empiézame ya,
of the players
empiézame.
from
Pero
North
ponme la
America.
cámara de
We're
Lolito,
gonna
por
see,
favor,
they
de
completely
Lolito.
fill in the top 10, 20 because of the fact that
Que se los
they
estoy
are
pidiendo hace
outnumbered
rato y
in
no
this
me hacen
tournament by
caso.
some of the
O
other
de
nations,
Ryu,
but
de
they're putting pretty
Marky,
decent performances at the
de
moment.
Marky
There are players
Locura,
in the top 20 as we were looking through the
de
standings.
Isma.
I know between 10 and 20, you've got Animal, you've got Zextra, you've got 72 Hours. At this point, that's a good place, and we've seen
Un
people in the
Expecte, un
Polish
Expecte va a
tournament
estar en
jump
la
up
final,
higher
un
as
Expecte.
well from
Este
that
año va a
10
ser
to
el de
20
un
spot.
Expecte.
One or two good games for somebody like 72 Hours who's already on the board can easily put him towards the top of the standings and maybe even look to secure the trophy.
I want to touch
Venga,
on
ya.
something with you because obviously we're coming up to game number 4 now. We've got
Media
7 games to
hora
go.
para
This is kind of-
perder. Venga,
It's
venga.
the middle game, isn't it? It's where it's kind of the, we call it the swing game, shall we say? Is this where if
Chicos,
you're
por
in those
favor,
10 to
entren a
20
mi
spots
directo.
that you maybe start
Voy a ir a
thinking
otro
about
directo a
changing
decir
your
que vayan
drops
al
if
mid.
things haven't been quite going your way, or maybe changing the way that you're playing
Mira
the game.
que-
From your pro, obviously background and what your experience, what would you suggest these players be doing?
Solos is so different than duos. That's first of all. In duos, you have your drop. If you win it, you have it for the rest of the tournament. In solos, you might actually, even if you win your drop, initial drop, you might actually think about changing your initial position, since there are so many players that are lacking the context of the early drops of other players that it can be aggressive towards you if you have a big POI. But at the same time, what is worth mentioning, there's a different point system that we use at this tournament. An example, first place, 65 points. Second place, 58. Only 7 points difference. But if you go lower, third place has 56, then 54, 52, 50. The small difference that we have between those placements is actually very rewarding towards players that are consistent. So the people who are doing well, they're going to stick to their guns and they're going to
Venga ya,
do what
hombre.
they do well. The people who are lower on the bracket, they need to change it.
Estás
up.
aquí
They need to
bobeando.
be
Empieza
more
ya la
aggressive in the
partida.
early game, and then get those
Chicos,
placement
¿qué
points
pasa?
later in the game.
And that's exactly
Alguien me
what a player
quitó
like
un
Jules,
like.
who won the third
Vale,
game,
vale.
did.
Yo lo
He
busco.
redeemed himself
Yo
for
lo
the
voy a
full
buscar.
damage in game 2, wins the game 3, puts himself in
Empieza,
second place.
empezó,
Game 3
empezó
is
la
done and
cuarta,
dusted.
vamos.
It's time for round number 4, gentlemen. It's over to you. Take it away.
Empieza la ronda número 4 con Sky. Empieza Sky, Ya que no sabes de dónde empieza. Desde el Sky. Desde el cielo.
Is there anybody that you think we haven't featured or that you want to see
Vale,
more
mira,
from
de
in this
momento
game as
está
we reach
esparcidito,
that
está
halfway-ish
todo
point of the
esparcido.
tournament?
I would say Aspect, but he's not doing well so far, man. Him and Animal are doing well in scrims, always like doing well in
Mira,
tournaments
esta
and so far.
personita de
But in
aquí es
solos,
la que
man, he's dead last right now. So
la
I
que no
hope
tiene a
he'll pick
nadie
it up
cerca, ni es.
and get some early game kills and just
El
get a
resto
second
van
position.
a
But
estar
here
peleándose
at Happy
ahí.
Helmet, we have a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people. There's AIM Hero there from Korea. Now this
Mira,
is
mira, ahí
Vilex,
tenemos a Aviles
and
contra Fa.
Trying to trade over this house. I'm
primer
gonna mention Aspect.
enfrentamiento.
I'm always keeping my eyes to see if he comes up in the action feed because he lost every single one of his first fights in the first 3
Pero
games.
ese tiene
And
arma,
that
yo
kind
creo
of
que
thing
solo tiene
is
pico.
not
Ah,
what
no,
we were
tiene
expecting.
doble
We weren't
pistola.
really expecting Aspect to be on such a
Tiene
back foot
pistolas duales.
in the tournament
Contra.
early on. Slow pace start for
¿Qué tiene
Vilex
el
and
otro?
Fa.
You will be also able to say who has a good mindset later in the stages. But let's focus on this fight. It's starting a little bit slow. No one has any mats. Probably also very low on equipment. Maybe no shotguns as well.
Dual pistols now for Vilex as he's trying to get through that floor.
Oh!
It's gonna get him. Far ends up falling. Vilex picks up the elimination.
¿Cómo se la hizo, brother? ¿Cómo se la hizo? A ver, ¿qué me está llamando?
Elimination. Early in the game, 150 mats, right? You
Dime.
get that right off the bat and 50
pasó?
HP. That puts him in a fantastic spot so you can rotate earlier because if you gain 150 mats, just by getting a kill. But let's focus on the Stompy and who is that?
Another trap goes down. I didn't quite see it. May
Espérate,
very
espérate, que
well,
estaba en directo
have
aquí.
been Keolis.
Ya decía yo,
He's,
¿qué
trying
me
to
está
just
llamando?
get his way through that trap. We're back
Pero
over
no.
into the polar area as Stompy.
Yo ya no
And,
tenía
Keolis
pensado
is wide
ir, ya
angle
no tenía
on
ni
the fight.
pensado
We just
ir
see,
porque no me
wow,
habías dicho.
Keolis just takes him out with that one shot, one elimination off that heavy shotgun.
Everyone is
Va,
so
es
aggressive
que
in the
ya
early game. I
yo,
love
es
it.
que yo creo que iba a salir los carnavales ya por
Great for the
aquí,
early game. I love that we
pero
get a
no
little
sé,
bit of
déjame,
pace here
después
as
te
he's
digo.
trying to find Bowman.
Es que no me habías dicho nada. Hace un mes te avisé, me dijiste cuando hable con mi tío, ¿sabes?
Bowman, a really important elimination again.
What a follow-up with the Grey Pistol as well. People underestimate the Grey Pistol.
Oh, KINZL, we'll see whether he underestimates Excalibur as he's trying to get any kind of position that he can. KINZL has the high ground for now, but 14 health.
Yo creo que pasaré, yo creo que
There is no way
pasaré.
he's being given the time to channel that.
I wouldn't be surprised if Max Caliber would
Yo
just
creo que pasaré de todo. Vente tú para acá, ¿por qué no tú
He
vienes para
knows
acá?
that he nailed 104 damage from the shotgun.
He actually got the time
pues
to
eso,
first aid
te
kit.
aviso
He
después
actually
cuando
got the
está.
first aid kit off that
Y ya
Tuesday
te
fight.
digo,
Now
no
KINZL
creo,
knows
¿sabes? Porque
already.
si me
He
lo
says,
hubieras
"Okay,
dicho
I'm
antes,
coming for
cuando
you,"
estaba
because there's no
5 o
way
10
he'll be
euros,
as
¿a
healthy as
quién?
me anymore. Excalibur trying to get his way out. Peeks through the pyramid.
That's a
No,
good
pero
position
man,
to
ya
just,
está.
you know, launch in any different direction right now.
Que no,
He has the floor
pero si estaba
underneath him.
5
So just
euros,
one
estaba
edit,
5
he's
euros.
out
Y
of
me
it.
dijiste te aviso,
KINZL
pero
trying to
viniste
go
a
in through
avisarme
low
un mes
ground.
después de que yo te avisara.
Risky strategy at times, but he'll have seen the edit.
No sabía qué
through there,
cosa.
trying to just clip through. Does get
He
it.
got the white damage. He knows he has no shields at all.
Drops in. What a beautiful elimination from KINZL. Drops over the high ground.
Vale,
Able
vale,
to
venga.
pick
No,
him up
ahora
now.
después te aviso
On
para
with
el flash.
X2, Jordan all the way from
Venga,
Oceania,
venga,
all the
Te
way
aviso
looking for his first elimination of the game. Good replace on that roof. At least to deny from that 4 health. Stays alive. This fight has turned. He has
Venga,
got to find
chico.
this next shot. Desperately trying to peek. Pistols are out, but there was a trap in there. And X2 Jordan.
Me lo perdí. Pablo, ¿qué haces llamándome? No, no.
Maybe you didn't remember it. Maybe that's the, you know, the
Por
nerves are talking
favor,
on.
no.
You're on the LAN. It's a big
Ahora me
tournament.
llegaron los WhatsApp.
KINZL just falls to Ares. Ares just comes in and says, okay, you won the last fight, but Ares picks up this elimination, no sweat.
I'm very happy for Eric, by the way. He wasn't doing well in this tournament so far. He had 0 points going into this game right now. So by getting that elimination early in the game, he's, well, I hope he will do out better.
So this zone covers a lot of the points of interest that were added in Season 8. We've got the Volcano, we've got Lazy Lagoon, but we are jumping up to a fight between Eco and Tixi. There is a third play here
Nico,
as well. That stink grenade is
se lo
going to pick
cargó
up the elimination
Gambit.
for Fwexy. He was the
Gambit
one that
Fwexy.
was waiting around the side, and now Tixi
El nombre no lo
gonna just drop
conoce
back.
ni la madre.
200 HP for both of them. They seem to be reluctant to pick up the fight. Good
Lolito,
decision.
¿qué
That's
pasa?
actually, when it comes to
¿Dónde está
solos,
Lolito?
it's so important to know when you have to back
Po,
out.
vas a morir.
Poach taking on Madsen
no.
right now, and Poach is currently set at
Te cogió la
69th in the
altura, Mas.
scoreboard. So this would be a big
Madsen,
elimination and
te
a good
cogió la
start
altura,
to game
Po.
4 for him. One of North
No,
America's
es Poch.
players that everybody was
Poach.
expecting a lot from coming into this tournament. Everyone was
Hey,
saying,
¿qué
"Poach,
pasa,
we're gonna see
brother?
so
Un
much."
saludito para
First 3
Family Play.
games been a little bit slow. I want to see him
Bro.
try and maybe score a few more points
Tú
in
estás
these
viendo,
last 4.
You know,
Este torneo está épico, épico.
Some of them will do badly.
Absolutely. And,
Pero ya yo de
hopefully see
menos
if
ver
Poach can
a
send
un
himself. Kuna
Lolito
takes a big shot off. It's
construyéndote
actually
un muro
not as
ahí
big as I
que...
thought. First of all, only 33 damage comes through.
Oh, they're getting knocked down by
Mira, de
someone
momento ha ganado. La primera ganó
Those
Isla.
clingers, where did they appear
La
from?
segunda ganó King Star. La tercera Julex. Y vamos por la cuarta.
Important thing to notice,
Mira, esta
he
es
has
Kuna.
a disco bomb in his equipment right now. That can be a game changer when you don't expect it and you're getting hit.
I heard a couple go off in the late game, in the last game, where he does that disco grenade, comes out, and everything kind
Vale.
of changes the complexion for a few seconds.
El siguiente que va a estar en un torneo de estos soy yo.
Another player that everybody was talking a lot about, but hovering at the bottom of the standings so far. Will run for safety for now, though. Doesn't take an engage.
Mira, aquí tenemos a Mike. No.
Yeah, Poach and Madsen. Right now, as the
Mentira,
zone's closing
Madsen
in, they do have a decent
contra
way
Poach.
to go. So this basically is a fight to see who lives to see the next storm. Poach trying to find his way outside that edit. Poach just takes so much damage off that first shot. Dire situation, and he is finished off by
Estos
Madsen.
tíos es
as
que,
Madsen
¿cómo
will
te hacen
Poach
esa
out
edición?
of round 4.
Te editan muy rápido y te dan justo en el...
Early
Te cogen
game
por los pelitos.
death for him means that he will be still in that bottom 50 in the standings.
Yeah, you don't get placement
Mira,
points
Mirvana.
until that 50th spot in the game. This is Boya, Mirvana, and Camo fighting just on the southern border of Tilted.
6 clingers at his disposal and the heavy sniper as well. It's a great combination.
Que muere por la...
Mirvana just got caught in the stink grenade as well, and Camo's going to
Lo
try
va a
and
matar,
pick up
lo
the
va a
pieces,
matar.
trying to fire through the floor, trying to get anything he can against Mirvana, but
Está
couldn't quite get
prácticamente
through.
una bala.
The metal is starting
Está
to build
súper
now, so Mirvana
tocadísimo.
will be safe for a moment as he tries to get his way back up that round.
Nirvana va a morir.
Interesting circle, by the way, you can see in the picture. It's very centralized. So
Mira
a lot
Camo.
of possibilities when it comes to movement.
Camo.
You will have access to cannons, you will have access to vents.
Que lo mata,
Looks like a lot of
Le
the
quiere tirar la
north side of the
construcción
zone
para que
is
caiga.
actually in the new lagoon area, so a lot of
That's
over
correct.
water fighting to be had if it continues to move north.
Es que juegan encerrándose, mira, ese está encerrado y no va a asomar la cabeza hasta que se tenga que ir.
Yeah, it's great, right? You got
Mira,
double
Jules
legendary
mató a...
items plus the
Ah,
AR.
no me di...
I feel like the
no me
only
di
thing
cuenta.
he's missing is if he could stumble
Quedan
onto a
74.
vending machine that has a rift to go or a launch
Mira,
pad,
mira,
you'd be like, oh,
mató...
great, everything's good for the late game.
Ryux mató a...
This meta is currently revolving around
No me fijé.
mobility items late game, so having launch pads and rift to go is super important. But here we have Blackstone from this stream.
Yeah,
Este
Cloud
Blackstone.
getting stink grenaded out as Black's
Blackstone.
trying to get any kind of position on this fight. Cloud is getting
Qué bueno.
run around through the low ground. No angle yet for Blacks to actually get an elimination.
Contra Cloud.
Cloud's going to try and build up for a moment there, trying to just change direction as quickly as possible.
He was controlling the
La
fight
gente
very
juega
well,
muy
but he
épico,
backed out at some point. He's worried about the third parties that can just shoot him down.
Habría
from
que
the-
intentar hacer
not just
ediciones
down,
como
but just
ellos.
shoot it from different angles and just lose health for no really big reason. He can still
Mira,
be
Dim
passive.
O,
He is inside of circle. if I'm not
Magin y
mistaken.
Blux.
So it's all good.
And this is where those passive moments come through. We were talking about
Mira, ¿lo
placement
ves?
points right now.
Juegan
unless
mucho
you
así,
really
con la
have to
ventanita.
move, there's no point
Y se
in
tapan
taking
con
a
la
fight, and that's
esquinita,
what a
¿ves?
lot of players will play towards. You can see how congested this
Eso lo he
area
visto
is
mucho yo.
around Dusty.
Todos hacen lo
As,
mismo.
Demo, this
Una
is such a common
ventanita
place for him.
y
We've
se
seen
quedan
this
en la
at least
esquina donde
2
no les
games
ven.
out of the ones that we've had. Demo just sat top of
¿Ves?
Dusty.
Mira, hizo
He's just
otra
going to peek out the
ventanita
window.
y
He
lo
knows
mismo.
he's safe because
A la
no one's going to
esquinita.
pressure him from here. No one's going to try and take the fight and look for an elimination.
That's a great position to be in.
Pero hay
since
que
we
tener
have
en cuenta que
actual
aquí se
high
están
ground.
jugando dinero.
And he's above. No, 1 damage below the Storm Surge. Remember, the Storm
Claro,
Surge
es que
mechanic
aquí el primer puesto
deals
es el bueno.
lethal damage if you're not getting above it. And there's, you know, no possibility of just getting out of it unless you get that hit. So having stink grenades is a fantastic thing to play against Storm Surge.
At this point, we're going to see Demo start taking
Qué
long-range
bueno.
shotgun shots just to get
Yo estoy
above
por
that
meterme
threshold.
ya
And
a jugar yo.
Oh, get
He just
that guy.
fire
Mira,
at the
Aizen.
sky at
Aizen,
anything.
Aizen.
We did just see a rift come through.
70 personas en el circulito.
It is Storm 2 going into Storm 3.
¿Qué pasa, señor
Starting to see a
Brito
little bit of,
Navarro?
congestion around the edges
Señor
of the lake,
Alan
but
Brito.
nothing too much to write
Alan
home
Brito.
about for now. Anti-hero. Oh, sorry, Aim Hero. Gonna see if he is the anti-hero for DMO's fans.
Qué mal.
As
Sí,
Aim
la
Hero.
verdad que sí.
We've heard a lot of talk about this player from South
No,
Korea.
y jugué
Now
esta
DMO is the
mañana,
one
pero
taking the fight
al
to
final
him.
lo quité.
Aim Hero needs to be prepared. He is invading DMO's territory, and now he's gonna have to fight. He's wielding.
No, que tengo que ver cómo juega la gente pro
assault rifle
para
for now,
después
and
hacerlo
DMO
yo.
does back away at least for now.
Pero la verdad que yo no soy de hacer esa jugada. Mira, encerradito aquí en la casa, se hizo una casa, la casa de los 3 cerditos. Está la de piedra.
But he's going for the fight.
He edits and actually didn't get punished too hard now, as only 30 health dropped from him. DMO says, okay, maybe I don't need to take this.
You know, remember, he was below the threshold. This is why he gets
Los cojo yo a estos y vamos.
Exactly, like looking for any damage he could, but
Si cojo yo a esta gente la arruino, le arruino la vida. Lo echan del equipo de su equipo, lo cojo y lo echo. Me hago yo una casa, a ver quién me mata a mí. Si me hago yo una casa ahí.
Well, DMO just ended up falling to Fwexy.
Mira, lo mató a pico.
He was just erased.
Instantly, one shot, another elimination as Fwexy takes out DMO, and DMO was played so
No te va a sonar la
confidently on
campanita.
top of Dusty.
Deja que yo la campanita para que te suene.
And I'm pretty sure that's out of the elimination
No, ahora me meto yo, ahora me meto a jugar yo.
We will continue to track this as 72 hours. Is one of the players we were looking coming into this was
Bueno,
Sanji
Donny,
in the top
gana.
20. Now we'll try and get himself into a position and look for more fights. 62 players remain in this game, so that was DMO falling out before
No
the
comas
elimination
mucho, mira qué
threshold.
tonto.
72 hours just hit his own ramp.
Que se tiró la granada de sí
Careful,
mismo,
72.
chacho.
You gotta make sure you don't
Mira, a ver, no
take
comas
yourself
mucho
out
que
with those
después
kills.
vas a venir con unos
We
kilitos de
continue
más.
with Smith. Not so bad on the inventory himself. Again, mobility is lacking. It's something we're come to expect from Season 8.
Smith.
What are you talking? He has a turret.
No es Smith,
Static
se llama
mobility.
Smith.
it has a seat, you know.
Exactly. But good to
Quedan
use as
60
a full
personas.
piece if ever you
Creo que el
wanna
equipo
help
español
out.
sigue vivo.
on the floor, so if you're getting you know, just assaulted from the top, you can just still use it as a very good cover. But he was going back mid-throw. 54 HP, but he got a good shot.
Mitro says, sit down, Jesse. Heavy sniper.
¿Vieron ese tiro? Qué épico,
Well, that's where you see Heavy Sniper coming in as a...
Yo creo que tuvo suerte. Nitro tuvo suerte de que el tío editara para salir y le metió el escopetazo de lleno.
It just destroys anything.
Mira,
apart from the containers,
Isma sigue vivo, Españoles sigue vivo.
Just
Isma,
go through that brick wall though and just follow up with that shotgun.
No, ya
Here we
está.
can see the player still alive.
ya está. Isma, vamos Isma.
Is the player we jump
Yo
to.
confío en Isma que siga vivo.
just eliminated himself. He jumped from 16 meters. That's a
cannon.
cannon.
Here we go.
Remember, you can't move while you're being shot out of it. So that you here, if you don't have breathing, he has to redeploy.
Kisa carrying the redeploy. There is no way he's getting to a safe spot without that redeploy. He was firing all the way through as Keenstar, our points leader, still trying to get himself into the zone.
Este tío puede que gane otra vez Kingsta.
First of all,
Este tío bueno, mira, va de
also gives
escudo
a purpose to the
completo.
redeploy. So you can actually think about, maybe I should drop those bandages, take the redeploy since I have the possibility of using the cannon.
Si fue, no está porque dice que era poco dinero. Por lo que leí, dice que como había poco dinero en premio, que el tío no fue. Mira, Domento, casi.
Right now it's a Mentos just trying to peek out anything he
Mentos.
can. You can see Sap is there, Provoked is there. On top of your screen, you got a few more of the players that haven't been doing so well in the standings.
Jarko's the winner of the Polish tournament last week, just got an elimination as well. He's not doing well so far in this edition, but
Mira,
maybe
que
he'll
son
pick up the
guarros,
pace.
porque se
But
quedan
you
cerca
were
de
speaking
eso
about
para
the
después
volcanic vents.
irse.
I think it's a great addition to the game because they
Mira,
add
porque esto
object-
después ellos cogen y
something
vuelan.
that we didn't have.
Mataron a Isma. Ah, no, Isma mató.
This
Isma
tournament
sigue
getting
vivo.
taken out early. That's an early elimination comes through, and that vent
Buenísima,
pistol ended up
buenísima
kind of
Isma.
ending on the vent, getting pushed into its own ceiling and having to readjust back out and build in a different spot. So still a long
Pero no
fight
sé si lo
over this. We've
mataron
got
ahora.
Nate, 72 hours, Bizzle. We've got some of North America's best
Aiten,
players in
Aiten.
this area, all fighting over objectives, but they are not teammates today. This is not North America versus the world. This is everybody versus everybody, and we'll see who can secure this vent.
Oh, there's a lot of players just, you know, bundling up near defense. Great to see because that's a new thing in the meta game. We have people rotating around. What is interesting about the circle is that we have a lot of natural high grounds around the area, but at the same time there's a lot of vents. So being low ground between those hills is not a death sentence anymore, right? A lot of people will be just focusing the different positioning, and you will have the possibility of just going through those deltas.
Starting to get a couple more eliminations,
gente,
and we are
como-
into the points now. 47 players remain. Bizzle hasn't
Vale,
moved.
Isa sigue vivo,
We've got
Bisle,
Isa, Zate up on the high ground as well. Jakos,
Low,
the Polish winner, is there. 72
Arco,
hours down
Provok,
in the valley between
Mira,
the
aquí está el
mountains.
español.
You can see
Isma está aquí.
Down
Está aquí,
below,
está aquí.
sitting
Ole, ole.
comfortably.
Vamos,
Sitting
vamos,
comfortably.
intenta
Let's see whether the
aguantar,
zone
bro.
moves in his favor as well.
Vivid, there's eliminated Cloud.
Lo importante es matar y la posición. La posición te puede dar casi lo mismo que haciendo con muerte.
Isa, did you see his equipment? One rift, two launch pads.
Mira,
Now
mató a
Zate,
Mitz.
One rift, one launch
¿A
pad.
quién
And
mató?
on top of it, the Sting Grenade as well is going to help. A lot of people underestimate them, but in competitive games, when people are all in these enclosed spaces very commonly, you can get so much damage, and it's a zoning tool. It forces people to move out of where they're hiding, so don't sleep on them in competitive.
Oh, one of my favorite tools in the game, since they provide you defense and offense at the same time.
Clinging down onto Keolis. Talk about offense. Nate's going to take this
Mira,
fight. Doesn't have the
está
health
quedando
for
ahí
himself,
debajo.
but when you're in a shotgun duel, it's basically one shot will end up securing it. Nate.
Oh, is he going for it? Is
trying
he
to look
going for the
edit.
peekaboo?
desperately trying to just get through. He dodged that shot.
¿Cómo se la hizo?
Oh, he got outplayed so hard.
¿Cómo le hizo eso?
Ends up
Las
taking
paredes no eran del otro.
on
Yo creo que el
Naples.
editor
Back on again. Those
no sé lo bien lo que le
draining
hizo.
out that good inventory you were talking about in a great position. And people are going to start to move very shortly. Now we're going to see who has the materials, who has the ability to get into that zone.
Nord has also great equipment, a lot of mats. He's in a fantastic position to get into the later stages of this game. Still 42 players arrive.
42 personas.
That RPG makes it so difficult for
Y
everybody
mira el
trying to
círculo,
move from
qué
those
pequeño.
buildings, because they're just constantly going to drop down, and if you get caught out, eliminated early, your points are going to be a whole lot lower than you were hoping for if you were looking for a safe rotation.
You were talking about knocking people down, but this rocket was meant to be lethal.
Norwood trying to pick up another elimination.
Buenísima de total, ese cohete fue épico.
Chap is in this late game so far. Vivid is here. Skite is here as well. Big names everywhere you look.
Vale, vale. Y nuestro españolismo, ¿dónde
Still
está?
a lot of materials just lying around.
Creo, yo espero que siga vivo. Mira, está Gosaiza, Sa, Arcos.
Those materials were just left out in the open. Vic just died.
Yeah, I
got eliminated.
There is a player that is precariously placed on just like 2 or 3 walls as a
círculo.
bridge. Moving through this high
Se
ground.
tiene que ir.
Didn't quite catch
Este
it.
se
I think
tiene
it
que
might
ir.
have been Yakos, but we are on with Norwood, who is in a similar situation for himself.
From what I can see here, Bizzle is in a great position, but he's just extending a little bit down.
Crazy Lama sigue vivo también.
One of the things that I've heard a lot of the casting team talk about is how few materials Bizzle uses when he's actually moving from place to place.
You can see it right now. Not only
Tiene lanzadera, o sea, se puede ir en lanzadera.
Single floors and single roofs.
Prisa no tiene.
And while that is risky, one of the things it gives him is just later and later game material usage. He can stay relevant when you get to the last zones. We'll see whether he gets punished though, but it's one of those player traits that we expect to see players start playing around when they know who they're going up against.
I think that's a viable meta choice. When you know people typically don't have rocket launchers, but we could have seen his rocket launcher.
Getting clipped from behind. He's out of RPGs at this point. Had those 2 eliminations
La
to his
tormenta en
name,
estos
and now
momentos
people
quita
start to go
montón.
up the side of the hill here. As Yakos up on the high ground in
Vale,
one by
vale,
one,
vale,
built
vale.
to the
G2,
skies.
Gosei.
He just used so much material, so many materials right now, but he's still sitting at 88.
88 builds as Zayt now trying to get pressured by Yakos. This is so dangerous because there's so much ground behind him. Yakos trying to desperately build down, does manage to get himself to safety.
Parecía que le habían quitado más vida de la que al final perdió.
Vivid is down, so is Tixi. In the action feed, we can see people are starting to fall. 19 players remain. Traps, you can hear them. It's the fear being put into those that remain.
Esta yo voto que la gana.
Players left,
A ver quién es de los que queda.
just trading shots, trading traps, everything.
Fortunately for the players, all of this is in the
Dicen
natural
no.
ground. Oh, but he's being
Uy.
by floor over him.
Bizzle nearly finds an angle on it, trying to get out of it.
Lo
It's
mató
Yakos
Harko.
that takes down Bizzle, the Polish champion.
Mira,
Just
Majin.
took out
Atlantis Majin.
Bizzle from this game, who had won earlier today. And no more victory royales, at least not for round 4 for Bizzle from this one. Big pickup from Yakos.
This zone is going back into all those builds. If you are being stuck in someone else's builds, this is pretty tough.
We talked before this round about 72 hours. He's still in this game, but barely, because look at the damage he just took on that trade. He was so healthy. I was about to talk about how well he was doing, and Vinny shuts me up in my track.
Vale, quedan 2, 4, 6 personas o 5.
To stay in this late game.
Now
6.
take a look at the Issa. He has the ultimate high ground.
Quedan 6.
Great equipment as well. To just take advantage 2 launch pads.
The only problem is
Quedan
low
6
on material, so he
y-
has the mobility, but if he's forced to build down, that's one of those areas you can't
Todo
afford
pinta
to be
para
dropping down with that
Majin,
glider. But Vinny, he didn't take out 72 hours, but 72 hours
Mira Majin.
died to the storm. What a game Yakos has had so far as well.
For elimination so far on his account, only 2
I'm
builds
Hero.
available. He is
I'm
using.
Hero
He
está
wants to use
abajo
them
del
as cover
todo.
for the shotgun pops.
But he doesn't own most of this is the problem. He's not the one, he can't edit down through this, but it is looking like the storm is going backwards. That's some of his building behind him.
And Hero and history just on the bottom. It's gonna be a tough fight for them.
Versus Brazil, international fight down on the low ground, and Yakos, he's looking, trying to peek. He's like, please, somebody just give me an elimination so I can get some materials. Backtrap. He's gonna try and make this as dangerous as possible. He actually picked him up.
Oh no!
Oh, yeah, the launch pad! The launch pad,
Qué
Yakos.
épico.
He drops in. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, Yakos, this is
Pensaba que se había tirado, yo también.
late game for him for now. It's 3 players remain. Yakos, it's Poland, Brazil, South Korea remain here. The trap is going down. Yakos looks for that trade. Damaged as he falls, but into the storm he goes. Yakos, if he can pick up an elimination, that would be it. And Aim Hero is the one down there as Yakos gets trapped in the zone. Yakos is eliminated from this. It's a 1-1. History is taking on
Si
Aim
gana las
Hero. Aim
historias.
Hero was the one that picked up the elimination from that Aim Hero.
Aim Hero se la llevó.
Picks up the 4th elimination and the victory royale.
Qué buena. History casi la hace, Esta estuvo interesante.
Oh no, he has 2 builds available. There's nothing to attach to, but he saw the launch.
Qué épico, mira, Pueblo Tomate. Pueblo Tomate lo llevaron ahí.
Yeah.
Fantastic. But let's just talk about the victory round.
Yeah, we
Mira,
gotta talk about Aim
este sí
Hero,
le
because
puso
this is one of the
emoción.
guys that was talking a big game on Twitter,
Se
talking
emocionó.
about how nobody needs to land tilted. Didn't matter whether tilted was part of his game. Aim Hero picks up round 4, victory royale. Good late game performance. Great late game performance out of Aim Hero as you can see on screen just how much it means as well. He's like, got away with that one at the end.
Hoy no duerme. Este chico hoy no duerme. Chicos, volvemos en 7 minutos. 7 minutos vuelvo. Yo lo dejo aquí por si alguien lo está viendo. Y porque después podremos sacar aquí clips segurísimo. Estuvo épica, Venga, volvemos. En 7-8 minutos.
85 points comes from that. So what a good performance. Like that was such a clutch late game as well. That could have gone any way, I think.
That is true. I feel like everyone in the late game could have won that game, but at the same time, you know, when you have such an aim, like Aim Hero, and you get that shotgun blast for over 114 damage, that's just game deciding. And it did decide, you know, the win for him. I think this is the first South Korean win as well on the international stage. So here's Circle. But I love it, man. South Koreans are just fantastic in games in general.
Yeah, I mean, look at those 3 nationalities we had in that final circle. We had Brazil, we had South Korea, of course, and we had Poland, of course, Yakos. And now, for those of you who might not be aware, Yakos obviously won the solos competition last weekend. He's not happy with that. He's here to play.
I mean, I know a lot of people say, oh, then keeping on talking about Yakos, but I want to talk about, like, that was a different playstyle out of Yakos from some of the way he was building to the end game. A little bit in the Polish tournament was slow and steady. This game, he's a late game, I'm going to crush everyone, like, try and get every angle from that high ground. Really impressive performance from him.
Yeah, fantastic stuff from him. But we need to we need to sort of
Take a
talk
break.
a little. Well, before we do that, I want to just highlight again Aim Hero with the win there. You can see it on the bottom there. 4 eliminations to come. A little bit of history for South Korea here on the big stage, making a name for themselves, and certainly a name to keep an eye out for as we move on in the tournament. But that is going to do it, gentlemen. Round number 4 is done. South Korea is on the map. We're going to go for a break, and of course, when we get back after round 4, it's round 5. It's getting easy, this.
Think she can't get a last-second clutch? Watch this. Think he can't carry his team while streaming in high resolution? All the while recording a once-in-a-lifetime win? Watch this. Think leveling up only happens in-game? Watch this. On Intel Core i7, they'll rise to every challenge. Now it's your turn. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7.
Why are you watching me when this could be
This is so you.
Classic you.
And this could be us.
This is all waiting for you. PS4 for the players.
Chicos, 4 minutos, 4 minutos. 4 minutes, please. Subscribe. Chicos, suscríbase a mi canal. Que aparece, mira. El que se suscribe va a aparecer aquí. Justo aquí, donde estoy apuntando con el ratón. Va a aparecer durante... hasta que se suscriba otro. Si te suscribes, apareces ahí. Please, if you subscribe, you appear here. Chicos, en 3 minutos, ronda 5. La primera se la llevó. Uy, hasta se me olvidó. Hasta se me olvidó. Pero ¿cómo es eso? Desde que hablé cogió y se fue todo el mundo. Mira, esta partida fue súper épica. Venga, me voy a callar, que se me fue hasta la gente. Vuelvo en 2 minutos y medio.
ESL Katowice Royale, featuring Fortnite, is brought to you in part by Intel, HyperX, and PlayStation 4.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ESL Katowice Royale. And much like a volcano, things are really starting to hot up at the moment. We've got 4 rounds under our belt. We've only got 3 rounds to go now. But before we get into our next rounds, we want to, again, catch up with one of our competitors who's competing in this tournament. This time, it's Razaru.
Usually I'm just I'm starting my day with Kovacs. That's like an FPS trainer that I use.
Vale,
after that,
listo.
Like I made my own edit map to practice
Estamos
some
ready.
edits for Fortnite. And after that I do some
Voy a hacer la traducción. Me llamo Andrés y me gustaba el Fortnite. Y desde ese día no he jugado otra cosa que no sea Fortnite. Y gané ahora. Y estoy feliz. No, vamos a dejar que el chico diga.
I would say nation of building and making smart decisions.
Este es Racer Rojo.
I think I used to play soccer as my hobby.
Nombre más
before,
raro.
but I basically stopped
Seguro que
for
el nombre es porque ya estaba cogido el Race Raw y él dijo, ven, 2 zetas más y 2 O.
Basically Electro Swing. And Caravan Palace is amazing.
¿Esto dónde es?
There we go, then, gentlemen. Catching up with another one of our competitors here,
Where
Razaru.
is
from
this?
Germany, lots to say. He says that his decision-making in endgame is what separates
In
him as a player.
Germany.
Yeah, and his decision-making late
No,
game
eso
has been
tiene
able
que ser
to
Estados
net him
Unidos.
multiple rounds in a row being high ground, which is so important. We were watching, backstage, and we're talking about how he's able to get high ground a second game in a row, but more importantly, he was able to maintain it for a very long time.
And I need to welcome you to the desk. I realise that I haven't. I'm sorry, Zacubus.
Right.
Zacubus is joining us on the desk, ladies and gentlemen. I know you've been chomping at the bit to get on the desk. Obviously, 4 games down now. What's been the standout performances for you?
There's been so many. Yakos in that last game, the absolute game awareness that lad has was insane. Knowing that jump pad at the right point, at the right time. No mats, does the risky play, comes out second place. Really, really well played from Yakos.
We've had a couple of players kind of sneaking their way up the rankings as well. Magen, a guy we haven't really touched on individually too much. We've mentioned his name quite a bit, but he's currently in 3rd place. He's been able to finally get in through there, and I kind of
Vale, esta va a ser la última que voy a hacer yo.
NA, but we have to keep in mind,
Cuando se acabe esta me meto a Fortnite.
One's from Brazil, and the other 2 are from North America.
And another thing to point out is we've had 4 games so far, 4 different winners from 3 different continents, which is pretty impressive, isn't it? We said that we wanted to have players from every single corner of the globe, and they're all performing, Zacubus.
Oh, very much so. It's neck and neck. Everybody's coming above and below. I mean, Vinny, he was about 5th, 6th for 3 rounds in a row, and now he's stepped it up. And after that last performance, he's overtaken Kinstar. So now that's a big, big upset. EU's going to be mad about that. But you've got Magin on the back hill. Kinstar still up there, and Brazil coming out on top as well with that 5th placement as well.
And then you have Skype we were talking about. He's been slipping away actually out of the top 10, where 72 hours. He's actually been on his way up, taking his step-by-step up that ladder. Currently at rank 11.
Okay, well, we've got to catch up with another man who's part of our team, and that's Stress, because he's with another man who's part of our team that we haven't heard from for a while. It's Adam Savage. What are you up to, guys?
Okay, empieza.
All right, lads.
Let's
All right,
start.
how's
Let's
it going?
start.
I'm joined, as you said, now by our esteemed colleague, our fellow
Come on,
caster,
come on.
Stress. Stress, what are you doing?
I was so hyped at the last game, I figured I'd come down here. Like, that end game, these end games today have been insane. This is what we live for.
It is. I mean, that great transition, by the way. I love that transition. That was great. We're having a ball down here. Obviously, the audience here as well are loving every second of this. International event, best players in the world. And what an incredible production as well. Everyone is absolutely loving this online. How much are you enjoying being
Ah,
here
no,
as well?
en 3 minutos. En 3 minutos empieza. 3 minutes, start.
Right now, though, we're at that pivotal point in the tournament where we can still see somebody make a run. So even if your favorite player at home isn't yet in the mix, in the standings, like this is the moment where you can see somebody go on a tear. We've already seen players jump all the way up to the top early on. That can just as easily happen in the late game. So this deck is stacked. There's 100 players and really coming into it. So many of them you say, okay, yeah, that's who I predict to win.
I mean, we're all backstage and we're all jumping up every single play. We're out of our seats. We're going wild. Are there any players particularly for you that you want to see do better, or you want to kind of see take this home?
I think one that I want to see take it home, I think Yakos had a fantastic game in that game 4. There's a few players I'm pretty happy to see. Keenstar doing well, 72 Hours is up there as well. But as I said, like if your favorite player at home isn't yet being shown a lot on broadcast, isn't yet in the standings, don't worry. Like, it doesn't mean that they're out of it. This is the great thing about Fortnite is somebody can make a run in the back half of this tournament. They can come through, even if they aren't in that top 30, top 40 positions. There's still time.
Literally anything is possible, Stress. Audience, are you ready
Todo
for the
posible,
next game?
todo
Make some
posible.
noise. They're ready to rock and roll, as are we. We can't wait. Mark, back to you, fellas.
Ryux
What an
todavía
amazing
puede
game
quedar por arriba.
Thank you very much,
Ryux.
guys. Always good to hear from Stress and his thoughts on the tournament. We're going to have a look at the,
Okay,
the standings at the moment, though, gentlemen, because as you can see, the bus is almost
The
ready
leaderboard.
to
The
launch. And
leaderboard.
there's been some big changes in
La
this top
tabla,
10.
la
Maybe
tabla.
not from players having
Vinix.
fantastic performances in the top 10, but it's
se colocó
kind of some
primero,
players who were
Vinix.
in that 10 to 20. They're having
Y
those big
Keenstar
games,
sigue
and they're
segundo.
pushing some of those players that were in that top 10 out of contention now.
Vale,
Yeah, they're
está
catching up
entre
real
History,
fast, and as we
Bisle,
mentioned
Magin,
earlier, 72
Keenstar
hours.
y
He's been
el
slow
otro.
and steady, playing the turtle game, just slowly munching his way through his competitors and grinding up.
Seeing history, though, they're in the top 10. Viva Brazil, going to see some action from them. We talked about them being the top players from their region, and they're starting to show here, especially if they could come out with like a top 10 finish in
Mentos,
solo,
el
top 10
28.
finish maybe tomorrow on in duo. They're looking very good to show the strength that the region does have.
Yeah, certainly going to be some Vamoses in the chat if we
Mira,
see
los
some big
españoles
performances,
están a
from the
partir del
Brazilian
40
guys. You can
para
see
abajo.
all the way down we go
Creo.
as well. Obviously, everyone's still trying to fight for those points.
Una mala
There's a lot of money
suerte,
on the line
pero
here for where you play. So
gente muy
even though
pro
we're always
aquí.
looking at those top spots, you know, if you get into those placements where you
¿Dónde
pick up
está
that money,
Lolito?
every single spot that you're moving
No
up
lo
is
veo
a
yo.
little bit more in the bank.
So keeping that in mind, there are these thresholds you need to hit to be
Lolito.
into the money, right? 17
Ah,
to 20
present.
takes
Mira,
1,000. Then if you break through to 16,
creo.
you double up your actual money to 2K. Break through the top 10, you double yet again. Then 5th, 6th takes you to 6,000. You jump up by quite a bit every step thereafter. So if you want to maintain a position or get in a position to win some money, you got to start putting up some good games here because we're almost done with the day.
And this is the big turning point, isn't it? This game here, we've only got a couple of games left after this. So kind of all the mistakes that you might have made or all the games that haven't quite gone your way up to this point, you can't afford those now. This is where you need to put in those
10,
bomb performances,
9,
like we mentioned,
8,
to put
empieza,
yourself in
empieza.
contention for that title.
For sure, like the last
No, se les
20
ve
people in this
estresado.
tournament are a real threat to the top 20, though. They're going to be a little bit tilted. They
Están
don't have any
descansando.
points. They're going to try desperately to grab at something.
La gente
So our top
hizo un
contenders have to
tire.
be careful of these loose elements that are now going to be put into the game.
Okay, well, we have a couple of questions, I believe, actually coming in from social media, possibly for you guys. So prepare yourself. We love putting you guys on the edge.
Okay,
we'll get those
let's
coming up
start, let's
as soon
start.
as we
Empieza,
can.
empieza.
How many different weapons? Oh, no, it's not even social media. You guys are being put under the cosh here. How many different weapons are there currently in Fortnite? Is it A15,
¿Cuántas
B18,
armas
C21,
diferentes
or
hay en
D24?
Fortnite actualmente? 15, 18, 21,
You
24.
pick one straight away.
What's
¿Cuánto
considered
dice?
necessarily a weapon?
It's a great question, but yeah, I mean,
Because the cannon's technically a weapon.
yeah,
Yo
but
pienso
what
que
about
21.
utility items? Do they count? Like,
You know what? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna be the first one out there. I'll do it. I'll go. I'll go 21.
21,
I'll go
okay.
21. We'll
Sí,
see.
21.
It's been a lot of weapons. It's been a lot of weapons. I'm going to go 24.
Best bit is? Don't even know the answer.
21. Yo creo que 21. No hay tantas.
We'll find out as soon as we can. If you know, of course. Is it 21? Did you get it right?
I lost my pen, but I got it right.
21, eh?
You're going to be unbearable now.
Yes,
Yep,
yes,
of course,
21.
You know me too well.
Let's not do that again because Jason, you know, if we pump him out anymore, he's gonna take my job probably at some point. Are you gonna?
Yeah, one day. I'm not quite at him. But no, I mean, there's a lot of weapons. I don't know if that included like volatile weapons or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a trick question. I feel cheated.
You know, it was a legitimate
reason I didn't
question.
answer it.
It was a good question, and the best guy on the desk got it right.
Okay, I've got another question coming in here, and this is a tweet coming in. Is which do you think matters more, mechanical skill or decision making or positioning, etc.? And that comes in from Tash. I can't pronounce that. I'm sorry, everybody. But, you know, thank you for sending me.
Tashengathan.
There we go.
Mind if I take this one? Well, I
Please.
think decision-making is key. It really is. Look at me. Mechanically, I'm, you know, the worst. Let's be honest. Like, I'm very envious of all these top-tier players with their outstanding mechanical skills. But if you make the right decision at the right time and the right rotation, technically you don't have to face any enemies whatsoever. So decision-making is always key.
I'm going to go a different route. I'm going mechanical skill. Because I feel like you can always learn decision-making from experience, but to be a mechanical genius that just naturally knows how to make everything work for you can always play to your advantage.
True, but it can also make you cocky, like you, Jason.
What's wrong with being cocky? What's wrong with being cocky?
Did you lose your pen, by the way?
I
did.
did.
He got carried away when he realized he got a question
I
right.
have no idea where it went, but you know what? I'm
His
sure you'll get
pen,
on your hands and knees to find it for me.
To the side. But obviously now, this is, as I say, no more room for mistakes for these guys. And I believe that we're ready to get into our round number 5, gentlemen. So Jason Kaplan and Zacubus, it's over to you for round 5.
All right, to kick things off, I want to start off with a question here,
Round
Zacubus, for
five.
you, while I try to find my pen in the meantime. My question to you is, if you're one of these players in a top position, do you go into these games trying to play passive,
Vale,
trying to play a
Kingstar.
different kind of style to make sure you can
Kingstar
guarantee
va a llegar al
yourself
final.
points into like the top 50?
En las 5 rondas,
Or do you kind of play the way you've been playing this entire time?
en las 4, esta es la quinta. Las
It's
4
really
rondas
tough.
ha quedado.
It's really tough when
Yo
you've
creo
got
que ha
all
quedado
this
top
pressure on you
20.
to, you
Por
know,
no
make those
decir
decisions
top
at the
10.
right time. The top tier players will make it in a fraction of a second. But I think for me, if I was in this situation, I would go as passive as I can, just try and gain as much placement as possible. If I've already got
Ole.
a significant point lead, play it safe, play it slow, and only take the fights that you need to take.
I completely agree with you. You know, it's not necessarily the flashiest of plays or the coolest of players, but you know what? It's not about being the coolest. It's about getting in that top 10. It's about taking home the trophy and taking home the money. So let's see. You can already see Bizzle starting things off. Jarl and Yarkos, I mean, the man we've been talking about from Poland here, the wild card player, who had no idea he'd be participating even to today when he's playing his match last week, has had a fantastic start and has the opportunity to take home a lot more money if he can break through out of 20th place.
Yeah, he's showing a great performance now. He's kind of warmed up to this crowd. He's got the home crowd behind him as well, and I think he's really stepping up to the challenge here.
Well, we can see Stompy might have some potential action coming his way. As Nate just going to try to farm up some metal here in the meantime. We see the Storm. It's not that far of a run for them, so not too much of a worry, but it seems like these players are playing a passive start here as we're into round 5. Again, realizing you've got to start stepping up now if you want to have a chance.
They just kind of want to farm, leave themselves alone as much as possible, and, you know, find the right fight that suits them. And Stompy actually has a great loadout, but missing that shotgun. Desert Eagle, I mean, the hand cannon even, is, you know, it's obviously been nerfed quite a bit, but it's still not bad. Does a lot of damage, 75, 150 for the headshot.
I know it's not the hand cannon, but I was watching Ninja last night playing with the scope pistol, and he was doing some serious work with that. So definitely cannot count the pistols out no matter what form they're going to be in.
Yeah, just you feel uneasy in those situations, though, not having that shotgun in that close range, and you've got so many opponents near you. You do feel kind of naked.
And see Myth going to be up against Nord. We saw Nord actually get relatively far in that last match, but he's going to have the pressure from a different kind of beast here coming his way. He's got the shotgun. He's got a really good loadout as well. A couple of clingers in there.
Mira, Ghost Idol.
If he does need.
Mató.
Yeah, Myth taking the high ground here. He's just going to sit up here and
Mira,
wait for the
mid.
right opportunity
This
to
is
attack.
mid.
Going in aggressive on that pyramid. Will he get the edit? No, he's just playing it safe, trying to find the opening, trying to get that floor replaced down there so he can just hack away at his opponent. And here it comes. No, missed the opportunity. Good work from Noad. Gonna dart out on the low ground, turtle himself up a bit. Ooh, attempting a high ground retake, but Myth is way ahead of it. And Myth is now dropping down, gonna repeat the same process, try and find an angle to attack here, Jason, as he slows down a little bit.
Yeah, again, he doesn't have the best of kit Myth here to actually go for this fight. He's up against, I believe that was that blue pump.
Exacto, los techos los pone para que cuando él quiera salir no pueda construir.
He could
Me he dado
actually
cuenta.
dip quite easily out of this
Ah,
right
eso
now.
lo voy a
I mean,
hacer
he's in
yo
a good
ahora.
position. He has the high ground. His opponent, you know, is going to be not too aware of where he runs off to if he does it early enough. But that is a game changer right there with the clingers coming in, opening up some more view sight there.
Bowman just took down Issa. So Issa was one of, I believe, our top 10 placers in the last round. has been silent so far. We've actually lost out on 10 players. Madsen as well is going to fall, with Poach getting the early elimination into game number 5. Nowhere again, trying to take the high ground position. He messes up his edit a little bit. Myth actually is going to fall into him. He has the SMG up close and personal. He's really going to have to shield this one away, pop down a couple of walls to protect him, but he's being chased down.
This is game over for Myth, surely. Oh no! The Klinger came out too late. The animation takes a while to go away, so obviously Noah has to play really carefully there. That was a
buenísima esta, qué épica. Pero no lo quiten.
You can see Sweep here again, the duo from Milan coming in last second. He's had a relatively good sort of start, I'd say, over the course of these 4 rounds. On round 5, you might have a little bit of a different problem with the Vic here, going to be on high ground, just trying to heal up in the meantime. Nowhere to miss, still going head to head. I am honestly amazed that both players have not backed away from this one, but Myth will eventually fall to nowhere. And Lolito has eliminated himself, unfortunately.
Mira, Lolito mató.
Yeah,
Lolito sigue vivo.
Going in from Myth. I think he should have dipped out a little bit
Estoy
earlier,
por
playing
quitar
a little
esto
bit
ya.
safe, but maybe
Está
he's trying to
aburriendo ya,
catch
la
up.
verdad.
Yeah, exactly. I respect the play because I think he realizes he's towards like, the
Venga,
lower half of
esperamos
the
la
standings.
ult.
You need to
Yo
make
voy a
something
poner
happen.
Fortnite
You
ya.
need to get some sort of momentum going on your side to really climb back up the rankings. So a respectable play, I'd say, hands down.
Yeah, and well played to Noah for actually taking that fight and actually claiming it in the end. He had the advantage with the weapons. I felt like he should have captured it a little bit earlier on.
Well, he almost messed up with the Klinger, right? I mean, he came around the corner of the Klinger expecting Myth to not face him, and that almost cost him his life.
The Klingers, they're great if you have the right opportunity, but throwing it in the open like that, when there's an opportunity to attack,
Mira, Marky, Ryux
exposed. You can't
siguen
build,
vivos.
you can't switch
Lolito,
weapon very
Sigma.
quickly, so there's the right opportunity for Myth.
Todavía digo Sigma, ¿por qué tiene la X?
Went out on a 1v1 over towards Tilted, so he's trying to make Tilted his own home ground. Milan is out, as you saw in the last few seconds there. Kahuna and Motor. Motor's teammate Eric. Fortunately, it's not alive anymore as he's been falling relatively early. But I think this is an important tournament for him, for Triceps. Just the fact of getting the experience of playing in front of an audience, playing on a stage, get that under your belt. Definitely helps because every player here is focused on duos right now coming into the next 2 days. So get this, get the bad games out of the way now, right, Zacchaeus, and then worry about the real ones tomorrow.
It's definitely a great warm-up, It warms up your own, mechanics. I think you have to be a little bit more mechanical when you're playing solos. There's more threats around you. You've got to quick and dive, dip out of fights all the time, and it puts a lot of pressure on players that aren't as mechanically gifted. But, these guys, they're the top 100, so it's very rare that any of them are in
So
that.
you're agreeing with me about mechanically gifted is important?
Yeah, of course it's important. You always want a mix of both, Jason. Don't twist my words.
That is true. I'm sorry, I'm still just riding the high of, being right with C with 21 weapons in the game.
That head is getting way too big on you.
Well, it'll match my nose, at least for me. Motor, in the meantime, still trying to look for some sort of avenue to fight. Again, he does not have a shotgun, so not the best position for him to be in. But again, I kind of think we're seeing the story of how these games are going. Even if you don't have the best weaponry, you need to make something happen.
It's going to be quite the stalemate here with Motor and Kuna. As you can see, the tomato chucking is happening.
Fantastic form as you see Motor.
It is. Well played, lads.
Great little overhand pitch. I think we clocked that one in about 90 miles an hour.
It'd be very interesting to see a Klinger play happen here. Chuck a couple of Klingers on the top of it, force the equation out. I don't think it's going to happen, though. I think he's just happy to sit out the timer and rotate a little bit later, but we'll switch back to them maybe in a bit.
I'm glad you chimed in there, because I could not remember how many kilometers per hour 90 miles per hour is. Anyway, Zayt in the meantime, he's got the legendary Chug Jug here. He's got the shotgun. His kit is decent. He also has a launch pad to get away if he needs to. But look at that little edit coming through. He tags him up, but doesn't do that much damage to him. So now, going to go for the Chug Jug. Tyovsky can hear this, but Tyovsky's not going to go for the engagement just yet.
Tyovsky has to go deep in this. I think he needs to push this fight back. We've got a third contender coming up on the top. I believe it's the Korean player Shinu. And, going in for Tyovsky. This is really bad. And Zayt managed to get off that Chug Jug, no problem.
Yeah. Surprised he wasn't pressured, actually, but I guess it was smart in the end, considering we had the third party come through. Sinnoh's going to be looking for that avenue. Maybe it's going to be above. Zayt, I think, is hoping Tyovsky's to come in. Now it's a fourth party. It's actually going to be Envy. It's another meta player going to be coming in here to make something happen. As we see the dynamite coming through. Tyovsky's been able to disengage completely. We even have Marky in the general vicinity looking to come in as well. It's just coming down to a giant WrestleMania here.
This is a battle royale in its finest, and that's Envy. And oh, he just got lasered by his own teammate. This is desperate, and the Klingers are coming on the top. The sabotage from the Korean team here. They're knocking each other out. but that's just the way the world goes.
The way the cookie crumbles here in Fortnite as we still see the clingers coming through. Envy is have to be running around the corner yet again. Zay going to be shooting from the window. It seems like no one's going to be free at all in this situation here. But I think Zay's going to be happy in his position. He's still got some decent ammo.
Yeah.
He's got the health to work with here. He's got other players fighting, so he's not the one to force to do so. Now he's just going to look to back away here and escape this.
Great move actually coming in there from Zay. Really, really good move. Just get out of that mess. It was getting a little bit too hectic. And oh, the shotgun exchange. Great timing there for Envy. As he went for the pickaxe play and the replace, he took a shotgun to the face.
So let's talk about that really quickly then. Because if you're in that situation, if you're Envy, forget about his health right now. You have those two plays, right? You can keep trying to replace your own ceiling over and over again. Or you can go for the shot and give up control of that wall.
Mix it up. Keep doing the, keep building. Keep turbo building on that floor platform. And then when your opponent keeps doing it, relaxes a bit more into it, like you're not going to push out. That's the timing.
Right.
That's when you're going to give him the little shotgun play.
Well, it worked. You can now see
Chico, lo voy a dejar por aquí ya. Yo creo que lo voy a dejar por aquí. Lo dejo resubido por si lo quieren ver.
Because we've had, was it 4 players here fighting?
Sí, yo creo que
2 have been
sí.
able to get away. And it's just left to the Koreans now to see who gets crowned victor.
And the Storm
Chico.
is pushing in. This is going to end the equation surely right now. As Sinu is in the better position.
Nos vemos en el próximo directo. Después, por la tarde, a lo mejor hago promo de canales. Mira qué buena la muerte esa. Después, a lo mejor hago promo de canales, o sea que ya saben. Chicos, nos vemos. Adiós.
Coming in with the drift board above.
He's going to be coming in. Not sure if he's going to be able to pick up that elimination. Again, we see Tyoski